Chapter 1636. Luli had been in that world for a long time. His body had recovered, which was a telling sign. To be precise, it had been 3 months since the battle at Gold Sun Island. 5 days after Luli went into the void, 4 ten-winged demons launched an attack. 1 ten-winged demon sneaked into the divinity to control warriors and armies, while 3 ten-winged demons led a frontal attack. Zhuqiulu and the others couldn't handle the 3 ten-winged demons, not even in a frontal battle. When the rear was thrown into chaos, thousands of controlled human warriors slaughtered and destroyed the magic formation. A rout was inevitable. Morale was the most important factor in a battle. The human army was already in a state of panic. 2 ten-winged demons attacked Zhuqiulu and almost killed her. Zhuqiulu was wounded again and fled. The human army was in complete chaos. The other 2 demons besieged Yanyu. Luo Guan was distracted by the demon lord. The pavilion master of mystery was not here. Yanyu was soon wounded and had to flee. Needless to say, after several supremes of the divinity were killed, the powerful warriors began to flee. Then, the army began to flee. Eventually, it was a total defeat. The battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. It wasn't the humans who resisted for 3 days and 3 nights, but the demon army who slaughtered for 3 days and 3 nights. The human army lost more than 50 million people. Countless human warriors became demon slaves. The demon army's numbers began to double. The demon army rested for a short while. Countless demon slaves led the way. The army split into 10 groups and invaded in 3 directions. Along the way, the demon army was unstoppable. Countless immortals were demonized. The demon army grew like a rolling snowball. If it weren't for Yanyu and the others who stopped the demon army and gave the immortals of various prefectures time to retreat, the demon army would have reached the size of billions. Even though many powerful warriors organized counterattacks again and again, the demon army kept surging and expanding. In just a few months, they had occupied a small part of the divinity's territory. Luckily, a powerful warrior, Lord Ji, who ranked first on the divine list, came out and fought with a 10-winged demon. The demon army stopped their attack and expansion after he wounded the demon. Number 1 on the divine list. Lord Ji's name wasn't well known by the people of the world. The information of the first and second rankers of the god list was kept confidential. Now that he had become famous after a single battle, the entire immortal realm knew of him. The natives of the god world were already in despair, but now a glimmer of hope was ignited. The number 1 on the divine list was the strongest person in the divine realm. Moreover, he managed to injure the 10-winged demon the moment he made a move. His battle prowess was so high that all the people of the human race saw hope and found their backbone. Why did this Lord Ji come out so late? Luli could not figure it out. The warrior ranked first on the list was the most powerful in the divinity. Why would he only come out after half of the divinity had fallen? Why did he only come out after so many human beings had died? A small territory of the half-god realm. How many prefectures would that be? How many humans were there in each prefecture? Although some had retreated later, how many humans had died this time? How many humans had become demonic slaves and walking corpses? Luli was not being petty. He was just wondering if this Lord Ji was not in the divinity in the beginning and had gone to the world above and only came back recently. Phew, the appearance of Lord Ji was a relief to Luli. Even if the sky was falling, there would be a tall man to hold it up. Lord Ji was the tall man. At least, with Lord Ji there, Luli was not as stressed as before. Lord Ji has sent out an order for all the powerful human warriors to gather at the prison of heaven. He will lead the human army to launch a counterattack against the demons and drive them back to the demon realm. The leader of the scouts cupped his fists. Luli was strong. He had reached the level of a super mighty warrior in the divinity. A warrior like him could make a significant contribution on the battlefield. I understand. Luli nodded and flew into the distance. He would not go to the prison of heaven. Once his appearance was seen by powerful warriors, he would be taken as a demonic slave. When the time came, he would not die in the hands of the demons, but would die in the hands of the humans. This was the south of the divinity. Luli could go to the Swords Mountain. For one thing, he wanted to discuss with Emperor of Heaven Reverse and ask them to relocate. For another, he wanted to see if Little White was back. Little White had gone missing at the Wei-Di Mountain. Luli was worried about it. He wanted to go back and see if Little White had wandered off. What if it had gone back to the Wei-Di Mountain? Luli's eyes dimmed. Where was Qi? Luli had no idea. Had she been killed by demons? Had she been demonized? The Heavenly Star Island had been occupied by demons. Luli wondered if warriors of the Heavenly Star Island had left the divinity. Luli teleported over with worry and anxiety. Teleportation was strict now. Everyone would check their identity. Fortunately, Luli was strong and there was no black scale on his face. Nobody dared to stop him. It took Luli more than 10 days to arrive at the Swords Mountain. Reports came in from the front line. Lord Ji led the army to counterattack and won 3 battles in a row. Millions of demons were killed. The entire divinity rejoiced. Many people worshipped Lord Ji day and night. After Luli heard the news, he was deeply worried. These 10-winged demons were all cunning and powerful in combat. 4 10-winged demons couldn't join hands to stop Lord Ji? Either Lord Ji was really brave and he could defeat 4 demons on his own, or it was a trap set by demons. Either this was a trap set by the devil, and the devil was secretly plotting to kill Lord Ji. Whoosh! Luli went up the mountain quietly and entered Emperor of Heaven Reverse's castle. Emperor of Heaven Reverse opened his eyes at once. Luli came out and cupped his fist. Your Majesty! Luli? Emperor of Heaven Reverse was surprised. Then, he was overjoyed. He stood up and tried to take Luli's hand to sit down. But Luli stepped back. Your Majesty, don't touch me. I have the smell of demons in me. Smell of demons. Emperor of Heaven Reverse was taken aback. He asked, Are you all right? Can you get rid of the smell of demons? I haven't found a way to solve it yet. But I will not become a demon slave. Don't worry, Emperor. I will find a way to solve it. Luli explained and then asked, Emperor, is my spiritual beast Little White back? No. Emperor of Heaven Reverse shook his head. I have been sending people to the Wei-Di Mountain. There is no news of any spirit beast, alas. Luli frowned. He waved his hand. Let it be. Your Majesty, you must think of a way out. If anything goes wrong, you will be able to move at once. What? Emperor of Heaven Reverse was surprised. Lord Ji, haven't you won many victories recently? I have heard some stories about Lord Ji. He was already powerful 10,000 years ago. He should be able to defeat armies of demons, right? Safety first. Luli waved his hand. What if something goes wrong? You must think of a way out. If the divinity does fall, at least you won't be helpless and wait for death. All right. Emperor of Heaven Reverse nodded. I will go and find a secret area. I hope that won't happen. Otherwise, the human race will be doomed eternally. In the future, all the immortals that ascend to the human world will be enslaved by demons. Chapter 1637. Leaving the Swords Mountain, Luli went to a prefectural city nearby. He went to the Hall of Bloodblade and asked them to find Qi. He told them about Qi's situation and asked them to find Wang Shun and find a way to send Qi to the land of Yuyan and bring her to Panyuchin. With everything settled, Luli teleported to the east. He was still worried. Moreover, he was now neither human nor demon. He wanted to find a demon lord to see if there was a way to expel the demonic aura in his body. The speed of teleportation wasn't fast. In fact, if Luli said that he was going to the east to fight the demons, he could teleport to the spacetime office for free. but Luli did not have the courage to go. For one thing, he bore a grudge against the Spacetime Office. For another, the super mighty warriors in the divinity could see through his disguise. Therefore, he had to be careful. Luli didn't even dare to teleport to the big cities for fear of encountering powerful warriors. He had been teleporting to the small cities. After all, Lord G could handle the demons. Buzz, after 3 days of teleportation, Luli was about to find a tavern to rest when the teleportation formation lit up and 3 people came out. Not good. Luli took a look at the 3 and was taken aback. One of the 3 was a super mighty warrior and the other 2 were from the divinity. Out of instinct, that super mighty warrior from the divinity used psychic power to check the city. He noticed Luli at once. Killing intent surged out from him as he shouted, "He is a demon slave!" Swish, swish, swish. Many warriors in the city stared at Luli. Some prefecture warriors unsheathed their weapons and dashed toward Luli. Luli felt troubled. Go ahead. The human race was facing a crisis. To cause internal strife would only bring pain to our friends and delight to our enemies. If he didn't kill them, these people would definitely not let the matter rest. As a matter of fact, Luli could use interspatial force to suppress the demon. That being said, his identity would be exposed and the entire divinity would know that he had been demonized. What should we do? Luli could defeat average warriors easily. However, this old warrior was a super mighty warrior in the divinity. Luli could not defeat him without using some special moves. On the other hand, special moves could expose his identity. Luli was in a dilemma. Wait! Luli could only grit his teeth and yell, "I am a pure-blooded human, not a demon." Did you sense wrongly? Have you ever seen a demon slave that can talk? Hee. A longbow appeared in the old man's hand. He sneered and said, "You must be a demon slave controlled by a high-level demon, right?" Let alone speaking, a demon slave controlled by a 10-winged demon wouldn't have any demonic aura on it. From the looks of it, it was controlled by a demon overlord, right? Men, quickly send a message and ask the Lord to come and take down this fiend. Shio. A warrior rushed into the teleportation formation. Luli felt troubled. He took out a copper hammer, flew up and said, "If you don't trust me, then let's go out of the city and fight. These low-level warriors shouldn't come here to court death. Let's have a fair fight." The old man had not made a move yet because there were too many low-level martial artists at the city gate. Since Luli said so, he agreed. He flew up and followed Luli out of the city. Whoosh, 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 many warriors followed him out of the city. If Luli was a demon, then he must be killed. Otherwise, many people would be demonized and the city would be turned into hell. Swish! As soon as the old man was more than 30 miles out of the city, he pulled his bow open. A black arrow appeared on the black bow. The arrow vanished into the air after it left the bow. What? Luli, who was running away, raised his eyebrows. He sensed some movement in the space behind him. Without hesitation, he smashed the copper hammer behind him. Bang! With a muffled sound, the copper hammer in Luli's hand was shattered. The black arrow continued its way toward Luli's back with irresistible force. Destruction fundamental principle? Luli sensed some movement in the space in front of the black arrow. He noticed that the space in front of the arrow was being torn apart, like a mirror that was breaking. The copper hammer he took out was a supreme relic. If the copper hammer could not stop the arrow, then the cloaking armor he was wearing could not. Hoi! He waved his fist behind him. He was not trying to stop the arrow with his fist. Instead, when he waved his fist, he created some force in heaven and earth. He wanted to use some force in heaven and earth to suppress and weaken the arrow. Bang! Luli's move was not bad. With a trace of force from heaven and earth, the power of the arrow was weakened and it was smashed away by Luli. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, as soon as Luli knocked away an arrow, the space around him began to tremble. Following that, tens of arrows shot out, causing the surrounding space to crack, and even cause space to tremble. *T. Luli sensed fatal danger in his soul. He knew he could not preserve his strength or he would lose his life. Without any hesitation, he flicked his sleeve heavily with one hand. Following that, a formless spatial force pressed down, suppressing all the arrows and cultivators. That super mighty warrior from the divinity was taken aback. The horrifying force in heaven and earth reminded him of someone, the god of slaughter, Luli. Luli had 3 moves that made him famous. The first was the force in heaven and earth, the second was Ghost King's Cut, and the third was the Sacred Mountain. Both the Sacred Mountain and the Ghost King's Cut were unique. Some people knew about the force in space, so the super mighty warrior could not make a judgment. Luli was hesitating even though he had gained the upper hand. If he didn't kill them, his identity might be exposed. By then, he would become a public enemy of the human race. But if he killed them, they would be innocent. There were many people nearby, at least thousands. Including those in the city, there would be more than 100,000. Everyone was in a state of anxiety. More people were coming from the city, but they did not know that their lives were in Luli's hands. Never mind, never mind. Luli shook his head. The human race was facing a disaster. If Luli wanted to kill powerful human warriors, he would be no different from a demon. Luli thought of the island, the kid, and the innocent people he killed. Phew, Luli took a deep breath. Suddenly, he scratched his face and revealed himself. He glanced over and said, "I am Luli. Maybe you are familiar with this name. I will not lie to you. I do have the energy of a demon. But I am not controlled by the demon. My soul is clear. Believe it or not, it is up to you. I have a clear conscience." Buzzing, Luli cancelled the suppression of spatial force and flew into the distance. That super mighty warrior in the divinity didn't go after him. He didn't even dare to move. Luli's name was well known. He could even kill supreme warriors in the divinity. What was more, Luli was the first to fight against the demon. Back at the Gold Sun Island, Luli killed his way into the demon's camp and helped Suochio Lu and the others escape. How could such a hero become a demon slave? What was more, if Luli really became a demon slave, how could everyone here survive? They would have been silenced. "Lord Luli, I believe in you. Lord Luli, we believe in you. You are a hero. Hero. Someone shouted, and then many others followed suit. Their voices were earth-shattering and resounded in the clouds. Alas, Luli, who was flying to the distance, sighed. Maybe after today, he would not be a hero anymore. He would become a public enemy. Chapter 1638. Luli flew away and he was being tracked down. He had been flying to the east. Warriors were everywhere in the divinity. It was not surprising that they could track Luli's whereabouts. The fact that Luli had a demonic aura and what he had said spread like wildfire. Many people's first reaction was to think that Luli was a true hero. That being said, in just 3 or 4 days the situation changed. Someone might have been doing it on purpose. Things about Luli began to change. On the 6th day, many people said that Luli had been demonized by demonic energy and had become a demon lord or even a 10-winged demon's slave. As for why Luli didn't kill that super mighty warrior and all the warriors in the city, it was easy to understand. Luli was under the control of a demon, but he pretended that he was not. He was trying to deceive others, to assassinate powerful warriors of the human race, or to have a bigger scheme. Could warriors who were demonized by demonic energy ever return to normal human beings? No. In history, all the demonized warriors died or became a demon's slave forever. There was no redemption. 500,000 years ago, a famous supreme warrior in the divinity became a demon's slave. In the end, he was controlled by the demon and many human warriors were killed. Therefore, many people did not believe that Lu Li's soul could remain independent after his body was demonized. That was almost impossible. Lu Li's abilities were horrifying and his skills in hiding were incredible. If he was demonized and snuck into the divinity to carry out a conspiracy and assassinate powerful human warriors, the consequences would be unimaginable. The four forces did not say anything. Lord Ji did not order anyone to track Lu Li either. But many scouts began to quietly search for Lu Li's whereabouts. After all, Lu Li had demonic energy. If he were to enter the army, he could cause tens of thousands of human warriors to be demonized. Lu Li did not enter the city. He had been flying in the void and teleporting to the east. His destination was clearly the area where the demons were. This led to more rumors. Lu Li had been demonized and his identity was exposed. He wanted to go back to the demons' camp at once. The four forces still did not stop Lu Li. Since he wanted to go back to the demons' camp, they would let him. Many would be killed if they tried to stop him. What was more, Lu Li could change directions constantly. It would be difficult to stop him, unless Lord Ji personally took action. That being said, Lord Ji was the commander of the human race. How could he come after Lu Li? He had to stay at the center of the army. Without him, the human army would lose its morale. Once he left and the army was attacked by the demons, it could lead to a complete defeat. Have you heard? That killing god Lu Li has now become a lackey of the demons. I've heard a little about it, but I still can't believe it. Lu Li is a hero of the human race. How could he become a lackey of the demons? It's not that he wanted to change. He was captured by the 10-winged abyss devil on Gold Sun Island and became its slave. It is said that he has infiltrated the divine world and has secretly assassinated many experts of the human race. Really? Who did you assassinate? There are a lot of them, but the news has been sealed. The higher-ups don't allow it to spread. I heard it from my second aunt's cousin's neighbor. That person is with Lord Ji. I heard that Lord Ji has given the order to kill Lu Li. Once Lu Li's whereabouts are found, Lord Ji will come and kill him in person. Lord Ji, then it must be true. It seems that Lu Li has assassinated many powerful warriors of the human race. Alas, the hero of the past has become a lackey of the demons. What a pity! Are the heavens trying to destroy the divinity? Don't panic. Lord Ji is powerful. If Lu Li dares to show up, Lord Ji can kill him in one move. Everyone has the right to kill the lackey of the demons. Lu Li knows that he might be controlled by the demons. Why didn't he kill himself? He is a coward. What kind of hero is he? Bah! In a small city, Lu Li was drinking tea in a tea house. Several people were talking about this. Lu Li sat in silence, expressionless. He was not disappointed or angry. In fact, he had already expected these things. Many people's hearts were very dark, and when the human race faced such a great calamity, people's hearts would become even darker. With some people adding fuel to the fire, this would be the end of the world. Lu Li didn't care. His reputation had never been good. Later, he became a hero of the human race after he fought against the demons at the sinful area and what happened at Gold Sun Island. He was not used to it. Lackey of the demons, traitor, thief, demon, he had been given all kinds of bad names. But so what? He just had a few more titles after the god of slaughter. The world slandered him, bullied him, humiliated him, laughed at him, belittled him, despised him, hated him, and lied to him. What should he do? He just had to tolerate it, let it be, avoid it, put up with it, respect it, and ignore it. He would wait for a few more years and see how it would turn out. Lu Li had always sought a clear conscience. Since he had a clear conscience, did it really matter what others thought of him? He believed that history would give him a fair evaluation. But he would be dead in the next 100 years. He didn't care what others thought of him. He had been flying towards the east, not because he couldn't hide on the human side, but because he wanted to kill a few more demons and contribute to the human race. In that world in the void, he saw bones all over the ground, the destruction of a civilization, and the hatred of many powerful warriors. He didn't want the divinity to repeat the mistakes of that world. He didn't want the prosperous divinity to turn into a wasteland. He didn't want the cities to turn into ruins. He didn't want tens of millions of humans to be enslaved like pigs and dogs. Luli didn't know much about righteousness. He only knew that when the nest was overturned, there would be no unbroken eggs. When the divinity was gone, would the mortal world be safe? By then, some demons could turn the entire 9 universes into hell. Therefore, he was fighting for himself, for his family, and for his fellow humans. He didn't care about the righteousness of the human race. All he wanted was to do his best to kill those inhumane demons and restore the divinity to its former glory. Of course, he wanted to capture a demon lord to remove the demonic energy from his body. He didn't want to live like this for the rest of his life. Let's go. He drew a formation in the void with one hand. He didn't go out to avoid the others. Since he was already a demon in the eyes of others, he didn't need to care about others' opinions. Buzzing, a small golden door appeared. Luli dashed into the door and vanished into the air. All the warriors in the city were alarmed. The city master, a mighty warrior in the divinity, used psychic power to check. Soon, he shouted, flying in the void. He is Luli. Luli? The dozens of warriors that were hurling abuse at Luli in the tea house turned pale. Just now, Luli was in the tea house. They were cursing him to his face. Did we misunderstand him? Chapter 1639. Luli was flying toward the east. The human armies had begun to launch a counterattack on the territories that the demons had conquered. The main force of the demons did not fight the human army head-on. The demon general dispersed the demon army and led countless demon slaves to attack the human territory from different directions. The fiend demon commander's intentions were very clear. With such a large fiend army, it would be very difficult for the human race to intercept them. As long as one fiend army charged into the heart of the divine world, it would snowball and demonize more and more devil slaves. Once the demon slaves spread, it would be like a plague that would doom the entire human race. At the same time, the demon general sent out some demon lords to sneak into the hinterland of the human race. They began to destroy and demonize human warriors. All of a sudden, the flames of war rose everywhere. The demon general adopted a smart approach and used offense as defense. They could not stop Lord G now, so they would set the human race on fire. The human race would not be able to fend for themselves and counterattack. Almost at the same time, news came from the 12 prefectures that evil demon experts had appeared. Millions of citizens in the major cities had been demonized. The demonized slaves immediately spread out in all directions and began to attack the other cities. When the news of the 10 armies of evil demons attacking reached the human army's headquarters, everyone had a headache. A group of powerful warriors gathered in the Heaven's Wall city, not knowing what to do. Lord G, what do we do now? In a castle, a group of supreme warriors in the divinity looked at a bronze-skinned middle-aged man sitting at the head of the table. Lord G was actually very old. He was at least tens of thousands of years old, but he did not look old at all. His looks were ordinary. The only thing special about him was that his skin was a bit dark. His eyes were so bright that no one dared to look at him directly. He pondered for a moment and looked at the hopeful eyes. The enemy is using offense as defense. We only have 2 ways. One is to put out fires everywhere. The second is to attack the enemy's base and kill the enemy general. Everyone thought about it and realized that there were indeed only 2 ways. The first was to focus on saving lives and stabilizing the situation. The second was to take drastic measures. Once the demon general was killed, the demon army would definitely want to retreat. However, both methods had their drawbacks. The first way was to put out fires everywhere. It was easy for the enemy to grasp the rhythm and lead by the nose. The second method was to directly attack the root of the problem. After all, there were 4 10-winged demons and so many demon overlords. Could Lord G and the others kill 4 10-winged demons? Rushing into the enemy's camp, what if it was a trap? Zhuqiulu had been injured twice by the 10-winged demon, so he was somewhat fearful of the demon powerhouses. He thought for a moment and said, "Lord G, I think it's better to be safe and carry out the first plan. Let's send people to kill the evil demons that have infiltrated the interior first. Otherwise, if this continues, many humans will suffer." Yes, yes. One of the Divine World Supremes nodded and said, "It's better to prioritize the rescue first. Killing our way into the fiend's camp might be a trap. If anything happens to Milord, the Divine World will be consigned to eternal damnation." Yes. More and more people responded. If Lord G led his men and directly attacked the base camp of the evil demons, it wouldn't matter if they died, but if Lord G died, the immortal realm would be completely finished. Lord Xianyuan, who was ranked second on the divine list, had not shown up. It was very likely that he would not show up. "All right." Lord G sighed, waved his hand and said, "Make some arrangements. Go and kill all the demon overlords that infiltrated. I'll oversee this place, and the 10-winged demons won't dare to move." Okay. Zhuqiulu was relieved. He was afraid that Lord G would go crazy and lead them to kill their way into the fiend's camp. Lord G was very powerful. If he ran into a trap, he might be able to escape unscathed, but they might have to stay there forever. The 4 supreme forces seemed to be very powerful, but this time, many supremes of the divinity had died. If they all died, even if they could defeat the army of the evil demons, the situation of the divinity might change. Zhuqiulu and the others began to make arrangements. Countless supremes of the divinity were sent out. Through the teleportation altar of the space-time office, they quickly reached the area where the evil demons appeared. One was to kill the evil slaves, and the other was to find and kill the evil demons. The humans, who were planning to attack, were forced to stop. Lord G deployed troops to intercept the 10 armies of the evil demons. The situation was reversed. The demons were in charge of the attack, and the humans were in charge of the defense. Buzzing, Luli flew across the void again and appeared in a barren mountain. After he came out, he used psychic power to check. Making sure that there were no enemies, he sat down and rested. After resting for an hour, when Luli was about to fly across the void again, he suddenly heard some strange sounds coming from afar. It sounded like a series of footsteps. There were also faint cries of fear. Luli turned invisible at once. He flew to a mountain and looked into the distance. A look of astonishment quickly appeared on his face because a group of humans was running towards him from the wasteland in the distance. There were at least tens of thousands of people. Many of them were wailing, their voices filled with despair and sorrow. Whoosh! Luli flew over and soon he arrived. Soon, his expressions changed. Many of the tens of thousands of people were old, weak, women and children. Behind them, there were many warriors chasing after them. Evil slaves. Luli was even more shocked when he saw the looming black scales on the warriors behind him and their bloodshot eyes. He was still in the human hinterland. How could there be evil slaves? Was the army of the evil demons here? Roar, roar! Woo, woo! The evil slaves let out beast-like cries. They ran over quickly. When they caught up with a human, they would either tear the human apart with their bare hands or bite the human with their mouth. Sometimes, they would wrap themselves around the human with black airstream and let the demonic energy demonize the human. Go to hell. Luli moved at once. He waved his hand and heaven and earth energy came down. Nobody within a radius of 30 miles could move. The demon slayer appeared in his hand. He moved like a ghost. One ray of sword light after another flew by and the heads of the evil slaves dropped to the ground. Black blood sprayed into the air, and the headless bodies fell to the ground. There were more than 1,000 evil slaves. In the time for one incense stick to burn, Luli had killed all of them. He also killed dozens of warriors that were affected by the demonic energy. Otherwise, they might all be demonized. What is going on? Luli turned around and asked after he killed all the evil slaves. Thank you, Lord, for saving our lives. An old man knelt down and the others followed suit. The old man bowed with tears in his eyes and said, Lord, please go and save the others. Our Water Moon City has just been breached by the demons. Many people in the city have been demonized. Those evil slaves are chasing after us. Go ahead and find another city. I will go and save the others. Luli flew away. What he saw along the way almost made him lose his mind. Bodies were everywhere. Many children were torn apart. Many old men and women were affected by the demonic energy. They were lying on the ground, screaming in pain. It seemed that they were going to be demonized soon. Bang! Luli waved the demon slayer and sent them on their way. They would rather die quickly than live like the walking dead. In the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, Luli arrived at a small city nearby. After he checked the city with psychic power, he could no longer suppress his killing intent. Chapter 1640. A beautiful little city was now in ruins. There were corpses everywhere, and blood dyed the entire city red. Some were still alive. Their legs were broken and half of their bodies were gone. But they were demonized by the demonic energy. They were screaming and screaming, living a life worse than death. More importantly, Luli saw several children who were also demonized by the demonic energy. They were walking around the city like zombies. They would trip over dead bodies and then get up again, walking around aimlessly. They were covered in blood and their hair was disheveled. They were like ghosts. Luli had never wanted to kill as much as he did at this moment. He had never been filled with such murderous intent. He remembered when he entered that world with the turbulence in time and space. He remembered the killing intent that was everywhere and the unwillingness and anger of the dead warriors. He wished he could kill this unfair heaven. Luli was having this feeling. He vented his anger. He swung his saber and hacked at a huge mountain in front of him on the left. A glare came out. He didn't release Ghost King's cut. Instead, he poured divine energy into his saber and hacked at the mountain in front of him. An earth-shattering saber radiance whizzed out and fiercely slashed at the mountain. Boom! Accompanied by a rumbling sound, the mountain was split open from the middle, and the terrifying blade chi blew up the entire mountain. Gravel flew everywhere, and smoke and dust billowed, covering the sky and covering the sun. I think it is more powerful. Luli was surprised. His move was filled with anger, but it was more powerful? He didn't have much time to cultivate recently. How could it be more powerful? Is it because of the killing intent? Luli pondered as he flew on. But soon, he had no time to think. There were Asmodean slaves in front of him, and they were chasing after warriors. Die! Luli was in a rage. He dashed on. He was so fast. Using the force in heaven and earth, he began a bloody massacre. At the same time, he used psychic power to look for the culprit. There were only Asmodean slaves nearby. There was no trace of demons. Luli had to kill all the Asmodean slaves in a rage. He gave some orders to those who were running away, and then flew on to find other Asmodean slaves to save all the humans. Jiang-Yi circled around the city and chased after the devil slaves. One by one, he slaughtered the devil slaves. Along the way, he saw corpses everywhere. They were all martial artists who were on the verge of being demonized. They roared towards the sky and struggled. The more Luli killed, the angrier he became. He had been searching for demons nearby, but to no avail. After spending more than 4 hours, he had killed all the demon slaves. There were more than 100,000 of them, including many children and elderly women. He flew around the area once more. After confirming that there were no more demon slaves, he turned around and prepared to leave. He didn't want to face those terrified faces and those eyes that wanted to cry but had no tears. Those demonic slaves had once lived in the same city as them. They might even be from the same family or even their own brothers, wife, father, or child. Once they were demonized by the demonic aura, they would turn into enemies, demons, and ghosts. They would hunt down their loved ones and clansmen. How pitiful was this situation! How sorrowful and indignant was this! Luli was burning with anger, but he had nowhere to vent it. Killing the demon slaves did not give him any sense of pleasure. Half a day ago, these devil slaves were still living humans. They might be gentlewomen, amiable elders, or innocent children. Once they were demonized by the demonic aura, they would all turn into demons and malicious spirit. Buzzing, just as Luli was about to fly away, the space on his left suddenly trembled. Luli's hair stood on end. He looked to the left and saw a black claw in the void. The claw was like the claw of the Grim Reaper, enlarging in Luli's eyes. Demon! Luli's soul trembled. His eyes turned red. The anger and murderous intent that he had been suppressing for a long time were released. His eyes turned completely red. He didn't even think about using any special move. He just swung the demon slayer and hacked at the claw. Swish, Luli swung his saber. All the murderous intent in his body poured out, as if it had merged with this move. The ray of light whooshed on. A demon that had just come out from the void stopped on the spot. Then the ray of light landed on his head. Boom! Something that shocked even Luli happened. The demon was actually split in half by his sword. Most importantly, this demon was a six-winged demon. The six-winged demon was comparable to a super mighty warrior in the divinity. Demons were strong. Luli once fought against an eight-winged demon. Not even the Ghost Lord Cut could kill the eight-winged demon. In the end, Luli had to rely on the worms of the void to kill the eight-winged demon. If Luli used the Ghost Lord Cut, it would be easy for him to kill the six-winged demon. However, he did not. How could he kill the six-winged demon with just divine energy? Was the six-winged demon a fake? Was it made of paper? No, it is murderous intent. Luli was delighted. Just now, he poured out all his murderous intent. This move was not an average one. It was the upgraded move of the Slayer's move. Yes, the Slayer's move has evolved. Luli stood on the peak with his eyes closed. The scene he saw in the Slayer's blood came to his mind. In the blood, the Slayer was slaughtering demons. Four-winged demons and six-winged demons could be killed easily with one move. Eight-winged demons could be killed easily as well. Murderous intent. Maybe the thick murderous intent can subdue demons and crack their defense. But must the murderous intent be concentrated in the attack? And the murderous intent must be concentrated to the extreme? Luli thought about it. He was only a super mighty warrior in the divinity. If he only used divine energy, he could not kill the six-winged demon. This must have something to do with the uniqueness of the Slayer's move. The Slayer's move might be able to subdue demons. Otherwise, it would not make sense. Even if the Slayer's move had evolved, it would not be easy to kill the six-winged demon. After all, demons had strong bodies. Murderous intent is something special. If I can integrate the murderous intent into the move, the power will soar. Is this the essence of the Slayer's move? Luli closed his eyes, forgetting everything else. He immersed himself in the study of the Slayer's move. He had a feeling that after this, the Slayer's move might reach the perfect state. He could kill the six-winged demon as if it were livestock. If the Slayer's move could reach the perfect state, then it would be easy for him to kill the eight-winged demon as well. Or could it threaten the 10-winged demon? Cultivate. Luli did not care about anything else. He sat on the ground with his legs crossed and entered the cryptic spirit realm. If the Slayer's move could subdue demons, then it would be crucial. He must seize the opportunity and reach the perfect state of the Slayer's move at one go. Chapter 1641. Lu Li had been studying the Slayer's move for years. After he came to the divinity, Lu Li had been trying to evolve the Slayer's move. Unfortunately, after so many years, he had made no progress. The Slayer's move was created by the Slayer alone. Only those who had gone through the same experience as the Slayer and understood the Slayer's thoughts at that moment could achieve great success. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve large success. This was because such a true intent was too unique. It was a powerful and strange true intent that could only be formed under specific conditions. Lu Li's killing intent had always been strong. From the heaven reverse universe to the 9 universes, to the divinity, to the land of Yuyan, Lu Li had killed too many people. That being said, killing intent and killing intent did not mean that one could master the Slayer's move or understand the essence of the Slayer's move. This time, Lu Li was taken to that strange world by the turbulence of time and space. In that world, he sensed a special kind of killing intent. If Lu Li's killing intent in the past was hatred toward his enemies, the killing intent in that world was hatred toward heaven and the unfairness of fate. One was righteousness and the other was righteousness. The realms were different, which gave Lu Li a different understanding of killing intent. What was more, what he had seen and heard recently, the innocent eyes of the kid on the island, the hell-like scene in the city, everything had elevated Lu Li's understanding of killing intent. Lu Li could vaguely understand how the Slayer felt. Back then, demons invaded as well. The Slayer saw the demons wreaking havoc on humans, millions of dead bodies, and the tragedy in the human world. The Slayer was touched, which was why he created the Slayer's move. What Lu Li was going through was similar to what the Slayer was going through. His understanding was similar as well. Lu Li sat in the mountain with his legs crossed. The killing intent was fluctuating. 2 hours passed by, but Lu Li did not notice it. 3 days later, some scouts finally came and found Lu Li as well. Lu Li did not wear a mask. Soon, he was recognized. There were many dead bodies of demon slaves around him, which aroused the scouts' suspicion. The scouts did not dare to come close to Lu Li. They only checked from a distance. Lu Li was studying the Slayer's move, and his killing intent would grow stronger. He couldn't suppress his demonic aura either, so the scouts could sense it from afar. A misunderstanding naturally arose. The scouts thought that the demonized slaves were Lu Li's and that the tragedy in the nearby cities was caused by Lu Li. They quietly retreated and immediately reported the situation here. As a matter of fact, Lu Li had sensed the presence of the scouts. However, he was at a critical moment in learning the Slayer's move. He did not have the time or the mood to mind them. It just so happened that there were 2 exalts from the god world nearby. Zhuqiulu and the others had sent out many exalts from the god world to clean up the devil overlords lurking in the hinterland of the human race. The battle prowess of a fiend overlord was comparable to that of a supreme being in the immortal world. Therefore, they were usually in pairs so that they could take care of each other. Coincidentally, one of the 2 supreme warriors from the divinity was an old acquaintance of Lu Li. One was Patriarch Kuang and the other was a master of one of the 72 sects, Yang Feng. Patriarch Kuang was overjoyed to hear the news. He wanted to go after Lu Li with Yang Feng at once. Lu Li was a disgrace to him and the craftsman's sect. If he could kill Lu Li, he could wash away the shame. However, Yang Feng wasn't crazy. He wasn't willing to go because he had followed Zhuqiulu to Gold Sun Island. If it were not for Lu Li's warning, Yang Feng would have died at the Gold Sun Island. Patriarch Kuang wanted to go by himself. But on second thoughts, he felt it was not safe. Lu Li was improving fast and he once killed Patriarch Qi. Patriarch Kuang was confident that Lu Li was stronger than Patriarch Qi, but Patriarch Kuang was afraid to take the risk. Patriarch Kuang sent a message to Luo Yi at once. Patriarch Kuang remembered that Luo Yi had come out as well. Luo Yi should be more than a dozen prefectures away. It would only take him a couple of hours to get there by using the teleportation formation of Spacetime Office. While sending a message to Luo Yi, Patriarch Kuang sent someone to keep an eye on Lu Li. He could not let Lu Li escape. Yang Feng thought for a while and asked Patriarch Kuang to report to Lord Ji and ask him to make a decision. Patriarch Kuang would not miss such a good chance. Patriarch Kuang used his power to pressure Yang Feng and forbade him from reporting. Yang Feng did not dare to disobey Patriarch Kuang. After all, the Craftsman's sect was one of the 4 legendary forces. Half a day later, Luo Yi came. He was overjoyed. Lu Li was not only a disgrace to him but also a disgrace to him. The fact that Lu Li went to the 9 universes to kill Lu Li's family was spread out. Lu Li was despised by everyone in the world. Many people looked at him in a different light. Deep in their bones, they disdained him. During this time, Patriarch Kuang had been dreaming of killing Lu Li. Now, Patriarch Kuang finally had the chance to kill Lu Li. How could he not be excited? Master Yang. Patriarch Kuang felt more confident now. He looked at Yang Feng and warned, Lu Li is under the control of the demon. He turned that city into hell and killed so many humans. He is no different from a demon. If you don't want to come with us, we will not force you. But I hope you will not stop us or create obstacles for us. Just pretend that you know nothing about this. Looking at the threatening look in Patriarch Kuang's eyes, Yang Feng forced a smile and said, All right, I will pretend that I know nothing about this. Do whatever you want. Let's go. Patriarch Kuang and Luo Yi looked at each other and teleported away at once. After 7 or 8 times, they arrived at the small city. They left the city quickly and sneaked toward Lu Li. Master. 300 miles away from Lu Li, the scout went over and reported, Lu Li is still cultivating over there. Nothing is happening. Okay. Patriarch Kuang and Luo Yi's cheeks reddened. Patriarch Kuang waved his hand and said, Grand Master Luo, you attack from the front and I will sneak up on him. Let's try to kill Lu Li in one move. I attack from the front? Luo Yi's expressions changed. The Hall of Darkness had always been known for being cunning and Luo Yi was best at sneak attacks. Now, Patriarch Kuang was asking him to attack from the front? Patriarch Kuang was going to sneak up on him? Wasn't this a joke? Patriarch Kuang was not joking. He put on a serious face. Luo Yi put on a bitter expression. Patriarch Kuang was afraid of Lu Li, so he asked Luo Yi to be the bait. In this way, Patriarch Kuang would be safer. What? Is there a problem? Patriarch Kuang's smile grew creepy. Luo Yi felt a chill down his spine. Luo Yi knew that if he didn't take the risk this time, he would never be protected by the Craftsman's sect in the future. No problem. Luo Yi made up his mind. This was the best chance and he could not let it go. He nodded to Patriarch Kuang, who sneaked away like a fox. He took a detour and went to Lu Li's back, ready to cooperate. Phew, after a while, Luo Yi exhaled. He flew away like a ghost toward Lu Li in the distance. He took out a hook. Last time, he failed to cut Lu Li's throat. This time, he would not miss the chance. Whoosh! He moved in the void and appeared when he was about 1,000 feet away from Lu Li. The hook whooshed across the sky and slid toward Lu Li's neck. The glint on the hook was frighteningly cold, like the hook in the hands of a messenger from hell. Buzzing. Chapter 1642. Luo Yi had always been afraid of Lu Li. Last time, he was almost killed by Lu Li. Later on, Lu Li killed Patriarch Qi. Luo Yi knew that he was weaker than Patriarch Qi. More importantly, Lu Li went to Gold Sun Island alone and was still alive. If he wasn't controlled by the devil, then his abilities must have soared. Retreat. Even though the hook in his hand was about to cut Lu Li's throat, he didn't hesitate at all. He was thinking about retreating. He sensed a fatal danger. If he didn't retreat, he would die. Too late. Lu Li didn't want to kill. When he saw it was Luo Yi, He could no longer hide his murderous intent. The demon slayer appeared in his hand. He didn't use Ghost King Cut. He just cut at Luo Yi gently. Swish, with a piercing sound, a red ray of sword light came out from the demon slayer. This ray of sword light wasn't big, nor did it have a horrifying momentum. It wasn't earth-shattering like Ghost King Cut, which had the power of thunder and changed the color of heaven and earth. This ray of sword light was more like an ordinary release of divine energy. It seemed to be slow. It just floated towards Luo Yi. Hiss, hiss. From the outside, this ray of sword light was completely different from Luo Yi's. At this moment, Luo Yi suddenly stopped. He felt the world in front of him had changed. It became a world of blood, a world of killing, a world of evil spirit. He discovered that he was enveloped by a terrifying baleful aura. That baleful aura invaded his body and seeped into his soul. His body had been controlled by the baneful aura, and his soul spirit had sunk into the baneful aura. He saw the sky full of saber lights, the ground full of corpses, and the blood that had gathered to form a sea. He also saw his body being cleaved into two. Bang! The ray of sword light floated over and landed on Luo Yi's head. Then Luo Yi's head was split open. The ray of sword light cut Luo Yi's body open. It was as if a sharp saber had chopped into an apple, and the apple had been sliced open almost effortlessly. Patriarch Kwang, who had just shown up behind Lu Li, was stunned. He looked at Luo Yi's body that was split into halves. He felt cold all over and his eyes were filled with disbelief. In the divine world, cultivation realms were not important. However, there was still a world of difference between ordinary divine spirits and divine world's almighty beings, divine world's super almighty beings, and divine world's supremes. It wasn't impossible to kill people above one's level. There were many geniuses in history who were able to kill people above their level. For example, when he was still a super almighty in the God realm, he had used powerful divine arts and some unique methods to kill a relatively weak God realm paragon. However, that was still the minority and it was extremely difficult. He had expended a tremendous amount of effort and had even used many strategies to kill that paragon of the God realm. At that time, he had only been a step away from becoming a paragon in the divine world. It had not been long since Lu Li became a super mighty warrior in the divinity. It was not surprising that he could defeat all the super mighty warriors in the divinity. Patriarch Kwang found it acceptable that Lu Li could kill Patriarch Qi. But now Lu Li had killed Luo Yi with just one gentle move. This was unacceptable to Patriarch Kwang. Patriarch Kwang was much more powerful than Luo Yi. That being said, he could not kill Luo Yi face to face. Apart from the top 10 warriors on the list, Patriarch Kwang believed that nobody could do it. Lu Li did it. In other words, Lu Li could be as powerful as the top 10 warriors on the list? Patriarch Kwang found this hard to accept. Lu Li was not even a supreme warrior in the divinity, and he had not passed the heaven tribulation. It was impossible for him to have such strong abilities. Killing intent? Such strong killing intent. Patriarch Kwang finally came to his senses. Lu Li's killing intent was so strong that it could materialize. An idea came to his mind. Could it be that Lu Li had mastered the Slayer's move to the perfect realm? The Slayer's move. That was one of the top 10 moves in the divinity. The Slayer used the Slayer's move to make it to the top 10 on the list. If it were not for the Spacetime Office's trump card, the Slayer would have killed the Master of Spacetime Office, and the Spacetime Office would have been destroyed because of him. The second Slayer is here, Patriarch Kwang gulped. Out of instinct, he wanted to step back. However, Lu Li had turned around and was staring at him with his blood-red eyes. Patriarch Kwang did not dare to step back. He was on guard, ready to fight to the death or find a chance to leave. Patriarch Kwang was terrified of Lu Li. The young man in front of him was not Lu Li, but the Slayer. Lu Li looked at Patriarch Kwang and said, "You are Patriarch Kwang from the Craftsman sect?" Patriarch Kwang once sent someone to hunt Luli down for a long time. Luli had some information about Patriarch Kwang, and he had some impression of him. Patriarch Kwang's face was as calm as an ancient well. The glow in his eyes betrayed his panic. He swallowed and said, "Yes, Luli. I want to know if you are being controlled by demons or not." Patriarch Kwang was smart and tactful with his words. Luli smiled. "What will you do if you are being controlled? What will you do if you are not being controlled?" Patriarch Kwang put on a righteous expression and said coldly, "If you are being controlled, then I will kill you even at the cost of my life. If not, I hope you can help the human race and kill more demons." Ha ha ha. Luli laughed. This Patriarch Kwang wanted to kill Luli, and yet, he was pretending to be doing it for the greater good of the human race. Luli sneered. "If I were being controlled, would I waste my time talking to you? Would you still be alive now?" "You are not being controlled." Patriarch Kwang happened to be surprised for a moment. Then, he said angrily, "If you are a human, then why did you kill Grand Master Luo? The human race is suffering and you want to fight with your own kind. What is the difference between you and a demon?" Luli had met many people in his life, but this was the first time he had seen someone so shameless. That being said, given that this man could instruct or acquiesce to Luo Yi to go down to the universe to kill mortals, this man must not be a good person. Buzzing, the interspatial ring on Luli's hand glowed as he took out 2 mountains. At the same time, many worms of the void flew out from his body. The demon slayer glowed in his hand. Pointing at Patriarch Kwang, Luli said, "Do it again. Believe it or not, I will tear you to pieces." Patriarch Kwang stared at the 2 mountains and the worms of the void in midair. He felt a chill down his spine. The mountains had defeated Luo Yi and the worms of the void had eaten Patriarch Qi. Luli had too many tricks up his sleeves. Patriarch Kwang might really die in Luli's hands today. Patriarch Kwang said coldly, "Luli, what do you want? If you want to fight, I will fight with you. Are you sure?" Chapter 1643. Kneel. Patriarch Huo was enraged. Who was he? He was a patriarch of the Hall of Battles at the Sect of Relics, a well-known figure in the entire divinity. How could Luli ask him to kneel? Was Luli out of his mind? Powerful warriors had dignity and pride, and so did Patriarch Huo. Patriarch Huo was enraged by Luli's request. He took out a white spear and pointed it at Luli. "Luli, you have gone too far. You want me to kneel? Are you out of your mind? Is there no room for negotiation?" A glint of coldness rose in Luli's eyes. The red glare flickered several times. A mountain in front of him suddenly enlarged and flew toward Patriarch Huo. At the same time, another mountain enlarged and stood in front of Luli. Luli waved his sleeve and released force from heaven and earth. "Go to hell." Patriarch Huo could not wait for death when Luli took actions. He shook his spear and it grew larger. Patriarch Huo used the spear as a stick and smashed at the mountain. Bang! With a muffled sound, the spear was smashed away and the mountain was smashed down. Patriarch Huo was strong. He dashed up like a dragon and threw his spear toward Luli. Luli had released force in heaven and earth. However, when Patriarch Huo shook his spear, the force in space collapsed. Patriarch Huo was so fast that he had reached Luli in an instant. "Worms of the void!" Luli shouted. The worms of the void in midair swarmed over. Patriarch Huo glared at Luli and soared to the sky like a mad dragon. Just as he was about to attack Luli from the sky, a ray of sword light came from the horizon. "Ghost slash!" Luli shouted. The ray of sword light whooshed over and made 2 turns in the air. The horrifying force in heaven and earth spread out. Patriarch Huo wanted to run, but he was slowed down. Patriarch Huo remained calm. He shook his spear, and it turned into many spears that flew out one after another. Bang bang bang! The spears and the ray of sword light bumped into each other. The spears were smashed into pieces, but the ray of sword light was weakening. By the time the ray of sword light and the ray of sword light came into contact with the 10th spear, the ray of sword light vanished in midair. Nice. Luli kept a straight face, but he nodded to himself. Elder Kuei was indeed a famous expert of the deity world. He was even able to break through the Ghost King slash. However, it was also because his cultivation level was too low. If he had reached the level of supremacy of the divine world, Elder Kuei definitely would not have been able to stop him. Swish! Luli controlled the mountain to fly up and smash into Patriarch Huo. At the same time, the mountain in front of him flew up and grew larger. Elder Jiu was the first to react. He shook his spear and smashed it down heavily, sending the divine mountain below him flying. He used the force to fly up, easily avoiding the suppression of the divine mountain above him. Swish! He moved in an arc and floated over like a ghost. His head was down and his head was up. He spun at a high speed and stabbed at Luli's head. The tip of the spear was surrounded by a faint purple stream of air. It looked extremely terrifying. Humph! Luli didn't move. He looked up at the spear that was getting closer and closer. He unsheathed his saber. Instead of using the ghost slash, he made a gentle cut. Judging from the outside, there was nothing threatening about this move, and there was nothing horrifying about it. Only those that were targeted by the ray of light could feel it, such as Luo Yi and now Patriarch Hua. The Slayer's move. Patriarch Hua was trembling. He felt the entire world was swallowed by red. A horrifying evil spirit enveloped him and began to invade his body and soul. Patriarch Hua froze on the spot. He could neither see nor feel anything. From the depth of his soul, he sensed fatal danger and fear. Patriarch Hua was wearing a holy grade armor. That being said, Patriarch Hua knew that if he did not do something, he would be severely wounded or die in the next second. Luo Yi, for one, was cut in half by this move. Luli, stop. I will kneel. Patriarch Hua shouted with all his strength despite his trembling. As he shouted, the evil spirit vanished from him, and so did the world of red in front of him. Bang! Even though Luli had stopped, the ray of light was still there. However, Luli had collected the evil spirit in it. Elder Jiu was sent flying by the saber. He spat out a mouthful of blood as his body was sent flying by the explosion. While he was flying backward, Patriarch Hua felt he had bumped into something. He checked with psychic power and was taken aback by what he saw. Many worms of the void had snuck into his body. Luli had made one move after another. Patriarch Hua could not fight back. Whoosh! Patriarch Hua flew down and stood in front of Luli for thousands of feet. He made up his mind, got down on one knee and said, "Luli, I am wrong. Please spare my life for the sake of the human race." Luli stood on the peak, emotionless. The red glow in his eyes was gone, replaced by clarity. Holding the demon slayer, Patriarch Hua felt Luli was not a young man that had ascended to the immortal realm for less than 100 years. He was more like the renowned slayer. Luli looked down at Patriarch Hua and said coldly, "Get on your knees and kowtow." Okay. Patriarch Hua got down on his knees and kowtowed to Luli. He kowtowed 9 times in a row. Finally, Patriarch Hua looked at Luli and asked, "Is that enough?" "What I said was enough, but not now." Luli snorted. "Cut off your own legs. Cut them off." "What?" Patriarch Hua's face turned red. He said in grief and indignation, "Luli, don't go too far. I have kowtowed to you. Don't go too far. Believe it or not, I can have the worms of the void gnawed off your head when I think about it." Luli pressed on. He looked at Patriarch Hua coldly and said, "When you asked Luo Yi to go to the mortal world to kill, why didn't you think this was too far? So many people in the 9 universes have died. If it were not for the fact that the human race is in danger, do you think you would still be alive? Can't you just say one word? Cut. Patriarch Hua closed his eyes. He put away his armor and took out a saber to cut off his legs. His legs were cut off from the knees. Patriarch Hua bit his teeth but said nothing. His face was twisted and hideous. Lu Li, are you satisfied now? Patriarch Hua was good at holding back. There was no resentment or anger in his voice. He spoke calmly as if he were the one who had his legs cut off. Not enough. Lu Li smiled. Remove the spiritual connection with your armor and give it to me. After all, the craftsman's sect has plenty of holy grade relic. You, Patriarch Hua almost vomited blood. Lu Li was not going too far, but a rascal. Lu Li raised the saber in his hand and said coldly, "Are you going to give it to me or not? Are you going to turn against me? Here." What? Your spear is nice as well. I think it is a holy grade relic as well. Give it to me as well. You, are you going to give it to me? If not, I will. Here, your interspatial ring is beautiful as well. There must be many treasures in it. Anyway, the craftsman's sect has plenty of treasures. Give it to me as well. What about me? If you don't give it to me, I can take them myself. Everything that kills you is mine. Here. You can have them all of them. Are you satisfied now? After the time for half an incense stick to burn, Patriarch Hua was stripped down to his long johns. Kneeling on the ground, Patriarch Hua felt like crying but failed to shed any tears as he watched Lu Li leave. Chapter 1644. Lu Li had completely mastered the Slayer's move. No wonder it was one of the top 10 in the divinity. It was even more ferocious than the Ghost King cut. If it were not for the fact that Lu Li's realm was too low, once he reached the supreme realm in the divinity, he would be among the top 20 in the divinity. The most horrifying part of the move was the evil spirit, which was a tangible killing intent. When the evil spirit was integrated into the attack, the enemy would be trapped in a world of blood. Before the attack arrived, the evil spirit would enter the enemy's body. The evil spirit would make it impossible for the enemy to defend against the attack of the Slayer's move. Many powerful warriors were strong in defense, but that was when they took the initiative to defend. If they did not and relied on the armor and the physical body, the defense would not be strong. Holy grade relics were strong, but the evil spirit would enter the warrior's body. When the ray of sword light reached the warrior, the force of the ray of sword light would be channeled into the warrior's body, which would explode inside the warrior's body. Slayer's true meaning wasn't a soul attack, so soul defenses weren't very effective against it. It was a baleful aura attack, a very strange attack. This was also the reason why Slayer's true meaning was able to become one of the top 10 true meanings in the divine world. After studying the Slayer's move for so many years, Lu Li had been trying to find a way to advance it. This time, by chance, he managed to understand the Slayer's original intent. The Slayer's move had reached the perfect realm. Through the fight just now, Lu Li had sensed the strength of the Slayer's move, which was much more powerful than the Ghost King cut. Based on his current realm, it was still difficult for Lu Li to kill Luo Yi. But the Slayer's move had more strength to spare. Lu Li left the nearby area and flew to the void at once. He did so several times in a row. The arrival of Patriarch Kuei and Luo Yi gave him a sense of danger. What if it was Zhuo Qiu Lu and Luo Guan who would come next? The Slayer's move was strong, but not so strong that he could kill warriors in the top 10 of the list by himself. The list was not a place for bragging. It was based on real abilities. The fact that the list could be so influential in the divinity indicated that the ranking was reasonable and fair. After several rounds, Lu Li found a place to hide. Now that he had acquired a holy grade armor, he must take control of it right away. A saint grade battle armor could save a person's life at a crucial moment. On the other side, Elder Kwang had also retreated, but before he left, he had silenced the nearby scouts. Why did they have to silence him? Naturally, he didn't want them to spread the truth. During the battle, some scouts had been watching the battle nearby, and they had even seen the scene of him kneeling down. After Luli left, the first thing he did was to kill all the scouts nearby. After killing the scout, Elder Kuei went to the nearby prefectural city and gave Yangfeng some instructions. Then, he teleported to Sky Chain City and found Lord Ji and the leaders of the 4 Transcendent God organizations to complain. Naturally, the truth had been altered. Elder Kuei said that he and Luo Yi were patrolling nearby when they heard that there was a demon lord massacring the city. They immediately rushed over and found that it was Luli. Luli and Luo Yi noticed that Luli was slaughtering warriors in the city, so they attacked. Unfortunately, Luli was too powerful and Luo Yi died bravely. He tried his best but failed to stop Luli. Luli escaped. Lord Ji did not say a word. The leaders of the 4 supreme forces were furious. Luo Ye's corpse had been brought back. Also, Patriarch Kuei brought back a scout to confirm Patriarch Kuei's words. They believed it without a doubt. Whether Luli was demonized or not, the 4 of them believed that Luli killed Luo Yi because Luo Yi and Luli were enemies. The evidence was conclusive, and there was no room for doubt. Zhuqiulu asked Lord Ji to label Luli as a human traitor, and all human warriors should be punished. The other 3 agreed. Lord Ji didn't say yes at once. Instead, he asked Zhuqiulu to send someone to the city to investigate and make sure that Luli was indeed massacring and demonized before making a decision. Zhuqiulu sent someone to investigate. Naturally, the result was different from what Patriarch Kuei said. Luli had killed many demon slaves and saved many humans. Zhuqiulu didn't tell the truth. Instead, he twisted the facts and said that Luli had indeed massacred the city and many civilians in the city had been demonized. Now, the city was in ruins and there were bodies everywhere. Many of the bodies had demonic qi and energy. Lord Ji didn't suspect that Zhuqiulu was lying. He issued an order to label Luli as a human traitor, and all humans should be punished. The entire divinity was shocked when the news spread out. There were rumors that Luli had been demonized, but many people didn't believe it. Now that Lord Ji had given the order, the matter was settled. Human traitor meant a traitor to the human race. A traitor to the entire human race. This was a grave crime. He was the enemy of the entire human race. From then on, he would not be tolerated by the human race. If the human race could survive, Luli would be recorded in history and spurned by the world. His name would go down in infamy. In addition to Luli, those related to him would be implicated as well, such as Lu Shi'er Qian Huanhan and the 9 universes. In the future, when the descendants of the 9 universes ascended to the divinity, they might be executed on the spot if they were related to Luli. As for Luli's family, what was the point of keeping the family of a human traitor in the world? If Luli was killed and the human race survived, the Earth Imperial Universe and the Lu family would face a tragic end. Human traitor was the worst name in the divinity. In history there was a human traitor. 500,000 years ago, there was a master of a major force who surrendered to the demons with his subordinates. In the end, the master's entire family was slaughtered. His name would go down in infamy for thousands of years. Human traitor? Lu Shi'er and Holy Princess were at the Tianjin city. They had gone to war with the army. When they heard the news, they sat together, speechless. An hour later, Lu Shi'er asked, "Holy Princess, do you believe it?" "I don't know," Holy Princess shook her head. "If Luli is controlled by the demon, then the Luli we know is dead. It is normal for him to do anything. If he is not demonized, he will not do this." "Yes." Lu Shi'er nodded and sighed. "Luli has the energy of the demon in him, but he said he was not controlled. I did not see it with my own eyes. If I can see him, I can tell if he is the Luli we know." Lu Shi'er stood up all of a sudden. Holy Princess asked with a frown, "Young Master Shi'er, where are you going?" I will find a way to see him. Lu Shi turned around. If he is not demonized, I will find a way to prove his innocence. Nobody can afford to be called a human traitor. Can you find him? Holy Maiden Xue smiled bitterly and said, even if you can find him, even if you know that he is innocent, can you really prove his innocence? Nobody can prove his innocence. He will have to prove it himself. Alas! Chapter 1645. Human traitor? Lu Li smiled when he heard the news in a small city. He already had a lot of bad reputation. Now, he had another one, human traitor. Human traitors were more intimidating than bastards. A bastard was a traitor to a country, but a human traitor was a traitor to the entire human race. The moment Lu Li heard the news, he almost jumped to his feet. He wanted to kill his way to the Heaven Chain City and ask Lord Ji if the most powerful warrior on the list, the most powerful human, was blind. However, he quickly suppressed the anger in his heart. Perhaps he didn't care too much about these things, or perhaps he was a little disheartened and didn't want to care about anything, so he didn't say anything. He wanted to kill his way to the east and kill as many demons as possible to help the divinity defend against external enemies. Now that he heard the news, his heart sank. If he was a human traitor, the enemy of all humans, why would he help them? Was he a bastard? Was he stupid? Anyone would do the same. He was dedicated to the human race. At the Gold Sun Island, he risked his life to save human warriors. In that small city, Patriarch Kuang and Luo Yi wanted to kill him. For the sake of the human race, he let Patriarch Kuang go. He didn't want the human race to suffer from internal strife. He didn't expect this outcome. Lord Ji, very good. Lu Li sneered and murmured, since you are blind, then you can fight the demons by yourself. I don't care. Lu Li was sitting in the tea house with some warriors. Even though Lu Li's voice was low, some still heard him. A glint of coldness rose in those warriors' eyes. One of them slammed the table and shouted, "Who do you think you are? How dare you insult Lord Ji? Do you have a death wish?" What? There were many cultivators in the tea house. When they heard this person's words, they all stood up and glared at him. Some even took out their weapons. If it weren't for the fact that Lu Li's qi and energy were strong, they would have made a move. Lu Li remained still. He sipped his tea quietly. He didn't look at the warriors around him and said slowly, "So what if I insult Lord Ji? You can also pass my words to him. Tell him that I, Lu Li, said it and that he's blind." "How dare you?" One of the warriors flew into a rage. He was about to attack when he remembered what Lu Li said. His lips trembled and he asked, You are Lu Li?" "That's right." Lu Li took off his mask, grinned and said, "I am human thief Lu Li. What? Are you going to eliminate me for the sake of the human race?" Swish, 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 everyone in the tea house turned pale. Just a moment ago, they were swearing at Lu Li, wishing they could eat him alive and cut him into pieces. But now that Lu Li was here, none of them dared to move. This was Lu Li, the god of massacre. Countless warriors had died in his hands, including 2 supreme warriors in the divinity. Whoosh whoosh, someone flew down from the tea house and went to the city lord's mansion to report. Many martial artists flew out from the city lord manor, including a few deity world's almighties. However, Lu Li was sitting leisurely in the tea house by himself. Nobody dared to move. The title of God of Slaughter was not for nothing. It was formed by the accumulation of countless corpses. Lu Li finished a cup of tea and stood up leisurely. He flew to the top of the tea house and looked at the frightened warriors in the city. He said, "I am Lu Li, the human thief. Please send a message to the divinity. Since everyone thinks I am a human thief, then from today on, I will not meddle in the affairs of the divinity. Also help me ask Lord Ji if he's blind? Is he stupid? Does he have a brain?" Whoosh. With that said, Lu Li flew away, leaving people in the city looking at each other in bewilderment. There were so many people in the city that the news could not be contained. Many people were more than happy to spread the news. After all, it was Lu Li who wanted them to. In merely 3 days, the news had spread across the entire divinity. It could not be suppressed. The news swept across the divinity like snowflakes. Lu Li had spoken openly and called out Lord Ji, saying that Lord Ji was blind and an idiot. This caused a huge controversy. Some questioned if Lu Li had been demonized or not. Others believed that Lu Li had been demonized and that Lu Li was trying to smear Lord Ji's name to destabilize the human army. After Lord Ji received the news, he remained silent and did not say anything. Zhuqiu Lu and the others issued an announcement condemning Lu Li by word and pen. They called on the human warriors to keep a close eye on Lu Li and kill the villain. Lu Li disappeared all of a sudden. Nobody saw him again. 5 days later, an announcement was spread across the world. Emperor Yoshing, the commander of the demon world, had his soul slaves to post his announcement on several city gates. Emperor Yoshing named Lu Li King Lu, second only to him. At the same time, Emperor Yoshing announced to the world that the souls of those who surrendered to the demon world would not be controlled by Emperor Yoshing. What's more, Emperor Yoshing would reward them generously. Titles of nobility would not be a problem. Those who did not surrender would be killed and enslaved forever when the demon army swept across the divinity. Apart from Lu Li, several powerful warriors had surrendered. When the news spread out, there was no more debate. Lu Li's reputation as a villain was confirmed. However, Great Emperor Yoshing's plan had worked. The human race was already a little unstable, and the devil overlords had been attacking cities all over the place. Although the human race had sent out many paragons from the immortal world, the number of devil overlords they had killed was extremely low. Many cities were massacred. The human race reacted fast enough to control the situation and stop the demon slaves from spreading. But after such a long time, only 3 demon lords were killed. Inevitably, the human race was worried. The most vicious thing was Emperor Yoshing's last sentence. How many powerful human warriors had surrendered to the demon world? If this was true, then all the human warriors would feel insecure. Who knew if their comrades would stab them in the back? Who knew if the powerful warriors would control more humans to surrender to the demon world? At the critical moment, they would strike back. The first was to attack the heart, the second was to attack the army. Once the heart was in chaos and there were internal problems, no matter how strong the barrier was, it would be broken. Nobody could stop it. All of a sudden, all kinds of rumors were spreading. Not only the average warriors, but also the powerful warriors were in a state of panic, of course. There were still some sensible people who knew that this was Emperor Yoshing's plot. The problem was they could see through it, but they could not stop others from making wild guesses. Lord Ji quickly made an announcement, telling everyone not to believe the rumors. He also said that if the demons took over the godly world, everyone would be demonized, and no one would be spared. When that time came, it would be the end of everyone. At the same time, Lord Ji ordered the 3 armies to move. He personally led the army to attack the demon camp, ready to fight to the death. Chapter 1646. Lu Li was missing. He was not looking for a place to hide. He had gone to the void. Out of sight, out of mind. He planned to go into that black hole and cultivate for hundreds of years before he came out. Last time, he spent more than 70 years in that black hole, but only a few days had passed in the outside world. This time, he planned to stay there for hundreds or even thousands of years. He wanted to reach the peak of super mighty warriors in the divinity and see if he could survive the heavens' tribulation. He was strong enough in fundamental principle, even better than the average supreme warriors in the divinity. What he lacked was divine energy and the strength of his soul. To reach the realm of super mighty warriors in the divinity, One could not make rapid progress in a short time. One must cultivate for a long time. Holding the map of the void in his hand, Luli flew quickly. Took him 7 to 8 days before he finally found that black hole again. Looking back, Luli was hesitating. Hundreds or thousands of years were a long time for him. The outside world was changing rapidly. He was worried. He had not found Chishire. The Hall of Blood must have been in trouble if they could not find her after such a long time. Let's go. Luli made up his mind and dashed into the black hole. Soon, he was swallowed up by the black hole. Whoosh! After Luli went into the black hole, he heard a noise coming from the distance. A huge wild beast came. It was the spatial beast that Luli had met last time. But this time there were 2 people on the spatial beast. However, their bodies were blurry. Luli could not see their faces or even their body shape. He could only tell that they were 2 people. He went into the black hole again? A soft voice came. It was a young girl's voice. Another person nodded. He made the right choice. His fundamental principle is improving fast. He will go in and improve his divine energy, body, and soul. I think he will go through the heavens tribulation soon. When he does, he will become a powerful warrior. He will be like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate. He will be able to make a great leap. But he will have to spend hundreds or thousands of years alone in there. It is dark and there is nothing. I don't think anyone can stand it. The soft voice came again. The old voice next to him laughed and said, "Extraordinary people do extraordinary things." Any expert had to endure loneliness and solitude. This was a path that experts had to walk, a tribulation that they had to overcome. Luli was not sure yet. If he could cultivate in there for 1,000 years, it would be beneficial to his future growth. If he can't endure it after staying in there for a few hundred years, then he won't be of much use, and his future achievements won't be too high. "Grandfather," the woman with the light voice suddenly turned around and said, "the human race is in such a crisis. Can't you lend a hand? So many people have died, so many cities have been destroyed, and so many families have been broken. How can you bear to see that happen?" "No." The old voice sounded, it was very resolute. "There are rules everywhere, and the vast world has its own rules. If I violate the rules, I will also die. The God world has its own rules, and we are not allowed to break them. If we help the humans of the God world, that would be breaking the rules of the game." "Rules of the game?" The light female voice asked in surprise. Who set the rules? How could he be so overbearing? How could he be so unreasonable? A bunch of big shots just stood by and watched as the God world was slaughtered, watching as the people were plunged into misery and suffering, and all of them just stood by and watched? Is this the so-called rules of the game? "Lass, you don't understand." The old man sighed softly and said, "The cycle of heaven and earth is the great Tao of nature. Everything has its own fate. The ebb and flow of the tide, the clouds gather and disperse, all of this is in accordance with the rules of heaven and earth. Even if the God world is destroyed, perhaps many years later, a formidable human will rise up and chase the demons back. Or the human race will kill their way into the demon world and kill all the demons. We are humans, so we care about the human race. When the God world's human race invades the demon world, when the human race slaughters the demons, will we feel that the people are plunged into misery and suffering? Human race, demons, demonic beasts, demon race, and so on and so forth. The old man continued, "There are countless living beings in this world, and no matter what race they are all equal. During this period of time, when this living being becomes stronger, it will attack other races, slaughter other races, fight for other races' territories, and plunder their resources. When the other races in that world become stronger, they will do the same. These are all the cycle of heaven and earth, and they are all reasonable phenomena. We cannot interfere. We cannot help any side because we have already transcended this world. Once we interfere, we will break the balance and the rules. Do you understand? Wait. The young girl suddenly remembered something and asked, Grandpa, didn't you help Luli several times? Does this count as breaking the rules? No. The old man shook his head. Back then, Luli was fighting against the human race. I did not help Luli kill his enemies directly. I only helped him secretly a few times. It is understandable that humans are fighting against each other. But if I were to get involved in the war between humans and demons, then I would be crossing the line. Moreover, there are many big shots paying attention to this battle. Not even the slightest movement can escape their eyes. They will immediately notice if I move. Important people, The young female voice laughed mockingly and said, So many big shots have been paying attention to the battle, watching so many people die, watching the lives being plunged into misery and suffering, yet they did nothing, only watching coldly from the sidelines. Do they still have the courage and humanity of humans? Given your current realm and situation, there are many things that you cannot see through. The old man waved his hand and said, Okay, don't ask. It won't do you any good. I will not do anything. Go back. When you are strong enough, you will have the ability to change the rules or even break the rules. I will not go back. The girl said stubbornly, I will cultivate nearby. Luli has been cultivating here for 1,000 years, and only a few months have passed outside. I will cultivate here for a few months. I feel. Lord G will not be able to save the divinity. We must rely on Luli. Rely on Luli? The old man was surprised. Then, he sneered, Girl, don't overthink. The 4 ten-winged demons are too strong. Even if Luli becomes a supreme warrior in the divinity, he will not be a match for them. To become a supreme warrior in the divinity, he must go through heaven's tribulation. Luli has too many demons. If he dares to go through heaven's tribulation now, he will be courting death. What is more, even if he does, unless he learns a powerful fundamental principle, it will be difficult. I trust him. Chapter 1647. Luli floated in the spacetime black hole and flew in. Inside the black hole, he seemed to be moving fast. However, time flowed slowly here. Even if Luli flew for hundreds of years, he wouldn't be able to travel far. Luli cultivated as soon as he entered. He could cultivate divine energy quickly here. To nourish his soul, he had to rely on elixirs. He had killed many powerful warriors. There were many elixirs in his interspatial ring, enough for him to use for thousands of years. The spacetime black hole was pitch black, and it was completely silent. The darkness and silence were enough to drive one crazy. Coupled with the fact that one was constantly floating around, it made one feel as if time and space were in disorder, and one couldn't differentiate between reality and illusion. Those who were not strong-willed or steady enough would lose their minds if they stayed here for a long time. If one were to stay in there for too long, not to mention cultivating, they would probably go crazy and feel suffocated. Luli had been cultivating here for more than 70 years. He was used to it. As soon as he came in, he began cultivating. He was at peace. Qi Shi did not know what was going on, but he could not worry about it now. He gave a jade talisman to the Hall of Bloodblade. If they found Qi Shi, they would crush the jade talisman. 10,000 years in here could only be 1 year in the outside world. What was more, the Hall of Bloodblade was good at intelligence. He might as well ask the Hall of Bloodblade for help. He decided to cultivate here for hundreds or thousands of years first. Even if he could cultivate for 1,000 years, only a few months would have passed in the outside world. He could not just cultivate divine energy and soul during cultivation. He began to study the Slayer's move to stabilize it. Also, he wanted to learn the cut of Ghost King. He had a feeling that he had not mastered this move to the extreme. Maybe he could make it more powerful. Whoosh, Luli floated down like a leaf. He did not know where he was going or if there was a destination. Luli's eyes were closed. He was at peace. If it were not for the fact that Xian-Chi in heaven and earth was gathering toward him, people would think he was a mummy. While Luli was cultivating in the black hole, the war had broken out. Lord Ji had sent most of the divinity's supreme warriors back to the prison city. Putting out fires was no longer working. As such, it was pointless for the divinity's supreme warriors to go after the demon lords. Lord Ji left a few people behind to control the situation and gathered all of them back. Leading close to 100 immortal world supremes and an army of over 100 million, Lord Ji pressed forward in a dignified manner. His target was the evil demon's current headquarters, Black Spring City. The fiends still had many armies and experts gathered in Black Spring City. The 4 ten-winged fiends were overseeing this place. Lord Ji was prepared to stake everything on a single throw. This time, he would either kill the 4 ten-winged demons, or the human race's experts would be annihilated, and the immortal realm would be completely destroyed. Lord Ji's determination to die infected many people. The morale of the entire army was originally low, but after knowing that this was a battle of life and death for the human race of the immortal realm, their morale soared. Throw caution to the wind. This was a battle of life and death for themselves and their families. They had no way out. Either they beat back the demons or they all died in battle. It was precisely because of this mentality that the human army and the evil demon army started their first battle 10 days later. The human soldiers and formidable martial artists fought without any regard for their own safety and were not afraid of death. Furthermore, once the evil demon aura entered their bodies, many of them would immediately self-detonate. A great victory for the human race. After paying the price of more than 10 million soldiers' lives and 13 supreme martial artists from the immortal realm were killed, the evil demon army was defeated. Lord Ji personally took action and, with the help of more than 10 supreme martial artists from the immortal realm, killed a 10-winged demon. When the news spread, the entire immortal realm was excited. If they had only defeated the evil demon, it would not be considered a great victory. If they could kill the 10-winged demon, they would have a great chance to turn the tables. A battle between armies was actually a battle between formidable martial artists. If all the formidable martial artists of the human race were killed, no matter how many human soldiers there were, they would be no different from cattle and sheep. Similarly, if the 4 ten-winged demons were killed, the evil demon army would have nothing to fear no matter how many there were. If they could kill one 10-winged demon, they could kill the second and third. As long as all the 10-winged demons were killed, what else would the evil demon army have to fear? The news spread throughout the immortal realm. Countless people rejoiced and danced. Many people spontaneously gathered in cities to celebrate the human race's great victory. Everyone shouted Lord Ji's name and cursed the evil demon and the human thief Luli. They prayed that the human race army would continue to win in one go, kill all the evil demons, and drive them back to the realm of demons. Everyone's mind was on the battlefield in the east. No one cultivated. Day and night they waited for the news of the battle in the east, looking forward to the news of another great victory. 3 days later, Lord Ji led the army to continue advancing. The evil demons were forced to retreat. All the evil demons and evil slaves were mobilized back. Moreover, the lords of the demons that were lurking on the human race's side showed signs of returning. It seemed that the death of a 10-winged demon made the commander of the evil demons feel threatened. The human race army pressed on. 3 days later, another battle broke out. This time, the evil demon army was defeated. Lord Ji did not even take action. Zhuqiulu and the others worked together to kill 3 lords of the evil demons, tens of millions of evil slaves, and over 1 million demons. In the end, the evil demon army was defeated. If it were not for the tens of millions of evil slaves, they could have killed even more demons. The second great victory had come, and the demons could clearly feel the drop in morale. There were already signs of a great defeat. They continued their pursuit, and a series of battles erupted. Every time a demon overlord was killed, the 3 10-winged demons seemed to be scared out of their wits and did not dare to fight anymore. The news of victory came one after another. The human army was like a hot knife cutting through butter, continuously recovering their lost territories. The morale of the humans grew higher and higher. They wished that Lord G could give the order to chase them all the way to the demon world and occupy it. Lord G sensed that something was amiss, because the other 3 10-winged demons were no longer fighting. The evil demon army would collapse at the first contact. Every time, they would send out some demon slaves to cover their retreat and quickly retreat to the evil demon sea region. Was the demon planning to retreat? It seemed like they had won every battle, and the main force of the demon army had not suffered too much damage. The demons should not have retreated just like that. It wasn't easy for them to break into the divine realm. How could they give up so easily? However, all the signs indicated that the demon army's morale was low, and the demon army had no desire to continue fighting. This could not be faked. The morale of the human army was at its peak. If they stopped, they would be doubted, and their morale would drop. They should chase the evil demon army to the evil demon sea region first. Lord G set a strategic goal and led the army to attack. The demon army kept retreating, and the lost territories were recovered bit by bit. 2 months later, the human army reached the vicinity of Tianyuan City. As long as they took down this city, the demon army could only retreat to the evil demon sea region. Attack. After resting for a day, Lord G ordered the army to attack Tianyuan City. However, this time, the demons actually did not retreat, and instead fought to the death in Tianyuan City. Both sides invested a large number of troops and experts in this battle. The 3 10-winged demons that had not shown themselves all this time appeared. Lord G was forced to go out to battle. He led a group of experts and prepared to kill 1 or 2 10-winged demons. 1 day later, a shocking, grievous news spread. The human army was defeated in Tianyuan City. 50 million of them died in battle, and countless experts died. 67 divine realm supremes died in battle. Chapter 1648. Lord G was dead. Like a sudden clap of thunder, the entire human race in the immortal realm was dumbfounded when the news spread. Many people's first reaction was to wonder if the news had been spread wrongly. Lord G's battle prowess was very high, and he had never lost a battle. In his first battle, he defeated the 10-winged demon, and in the next few battles, he easily suppressed everyone and even killed a 10-winged demon. How could such a peerless powerhouse die? And he died so suddenly. Before this, the human army had a series of victories, and they were about to chase the demon army into the demon sea region. Why did the tables suddenly turn, and the humans were defeated and Lord G died? It's over. A sect powerhouse that stayed behind heard the news, and immediately arranged for the sect's powerhouses to go to secret realms and small worlds to hide, to preserve the seed. They knew very well that such a big event couldn't be spread around. Lord G, Yenyu, and the others were indeed dead, dead beyond dead. Although many people didn't know the inside story, they vaguely understood, and they were even more frightened. They feared Great Emperor Yoshing from the bottom of their bones. Great Emperor Yoshing played a good game of chess. This setup is heaven-defying. After Pan Yuqin heard the news, her expression became extremely ugly. This time, she didn't follow. Pan Wang felt that her battle prowess was too low, and had her stay in Pan Wang City. Setup? Is there a conspiracy? Yi Kai couldn't understand and asked, "Miss, you mean that all of this was a setup by Great Emperor Yoshing? If I'm not wrong, Lord G's first battle, injuring that 10-winged demon, was all fake. That 10-winged demon may have been intentionally injured by Lord G, and great Emperor Yoshing started planning from then on. Pan Yuqin sighed faintly and continued. In the end, the evil demon army used offense as defense, and arranged for the evil demon lords to cause trouble in the divine realm, including the last successive defeats, and even the death of the 10-winged evil demon may have been deliberate. Everything was for the Battle of Tianyuan City. Everything was for the Battle of Tianyuan City? Ye Kai was even more confused, and a trace of confusion appeared in his eyes. The more Pan Yuqin analyzed, the more convinced she was of her deduction. She said in a deep voice, "There must be something in Tianyuan City. Great Emperor Yoshing must have set up a very powerful formation in Tianyuan City. This formation can increase the combat power of the demons. At the end of the day, this is a battle between the strong." Pan Yuqin stood up and sighed. Great Emperor Yoshing is very clear about this, so as long as we kill a large number of human experts, we will be able to win this war. We'll set up a great formation and attract all the human experts over. We'll be victorious in one battle. Ye Kai pondered and followed Pan Yuqin's train of thought. If you want to attract the strong warriors of the human clan, you have to retreat? They had to force the human soldiers to stake everything on one throw, which was why the demon lords were wreaking havoc everywhere. Was that why Emperor Yoshing sent the notice about Luli? All of this was to force Lord Ji to fight to the death? After that, the evil demons suffered consecutive defeats and fled in disorder. They even sent a 10-winged evil demon to its death. Only then did the human army see hope, and the human army couldn't stop. Even if Lord Ji didn't want to attack, he couldn't? When the human army entered Tianyuan City, they were ambushed and Lord Ji and the others were killed. Something like that. Otherwise, there is no other explanation. Pan Yuqin nodded slightly, shook her head, and sighed. It's too late to say anything now. Lord Ji and so many powerful warriors have died in battle. The human race has lost its power. Nobody can withstand the attack of the evil demons. Ye Kai thought for a while and asked, "Even the God Kings can't stop them? We have the heaven and earth divine formation in the land of Yuyan. The evil demons can't break in, right?" "I don't know," Pan Yuqin shook her head and said, "The heaven and earth divine formation can increase the combat strength of the 9 God Kings, but can it stop 3 10-winged evil demons? No one knows anymore. If the 9 God Kings can't stop them even with the heaven and earth divine formation," Ye Kai's face turned pale as he said bitterly, "then the divine realm can't be saved. From now on, the divine realm will be renamed to the demon realm. Run." The divine realm was in a complete mess. Many people dragged their families and started to flee to the west. Some people also started to flee to the north. Although they knew that even if they fled to the west or the north, it might not be safe, at least it was better than waiting for death. A piece of news quickly spread throughout the divine realm. King Yen announced to the world that everyone could teleport to the land of Yuyan. The 9 God Kings would never let the evil demons enter the land of Yuyan unless they died. After the news spread, the martial artists in the north immediately rushed to the land of Yuyan crazily. The army in the land of Yuyan was mobilized to take in all these martial artists and find a place to settle down. Lord Ji had died in battle. Yen Yu and the Pavilion Lord of Heavenly Secrets had also died in battle. The divine realm was like a group of dragons without a leader. Zhuqiulu and Luoguan didn't know what to do now. Zhuqiulu even started to arrange the elite disciples of the space-time residents to prepare to escape. Therefore, the people of the divine realm couldn't count on the 4 supreme forces anymore. King Yan's order made the people of the divine realm feel like they had found a new pillar of support. Groups of martial artists and clans all teleported to the north crazily and entered the land of Yuyan quickly. All the cities had opened their teleportation formations and teleported for free. The human race had suffered such a great disaster, who would still want divine roots? What was the point of having so many divine roots? The death of Lord Ji Yen Yu and the Pavilion Lord of Heavenly Secrets had been confirmed. Luo Guan and Zhuo Qilu gathered the remaining remnants of the army and retreated hundreds of millions of miles. They were prepared to resist the evil demon army for some time and give the human race time to evacuate. Evacuate? Zhuo Qilu and Luo Guan both knew that even if they could temporarily evacuate and escape, what would the final outcome be? They didn't have much hope. Could the 9 god kings of the land of Yuyan stop the evil demon army? Was the heavenly formation of the land of Yuyan really that powerful? They weren't optimistic either. The reason why they were still guarding bitterly was to give the craftsmen's sect time to evacuate. It was the last thing they could do. Perhaps they were also hoping for a miracle. They hoped that Lord Xianyuan, who was ranked second on the divine list, would appear and save the people from suffering. 3 days later, the evil demon army attacked, crushing over like a surging torrent. Zhuo Qilu and Luo Guan led the army to resist, but the battle only lasted for 2 hours before the human army was immediately defeated. They fought and retreated and fought and lost. In half a month, Luo Guan and Zhuo Qilu had retreated for hundreds of millions of miles. A small half of the divinity's territory was occupied by the evil demon army again. The evil demon army began to split into 10 armies and pierced into the hinterland of the divinity like 10 sharp arrows. Although many people in the divinity were fleeing, many didn't. Perhaps they knew that it was useless to flee. They would die sooner or later. It was better to guard their family property, their ancestral land, and die a heroic death. In 10 days, the 10 armies swept across and occupied more than a dozen prefectures. They demonized billions of humans. The evil demon army's number increased by more than 10 times. Zhuo Qilu and Luo Guan led the human army. There were less than 10 million of them, and they kept retreating. They didn't have the strength to fight at all. All the soldiers looked gloomy and hopeless, and their hearts were like dead ashes. On this day, a black figure flew out from a space-time black hole in the void. Lu Li finally came out of seclusion. Chapter 1649. How many years have I been in there? 800 years? 1,000? Or 1,200? Standing in the void, Lu Li's mind was in a blur. In a black hole, time and space would be disordered. He felt he was hovering between illusion and reality. Never mind. I will go out and have a look. Lu Li stood there for a moment and then flew into the distance. His speed was 10 times faster than before, almost as fast as the mountain. After 1,000 years in the black hole, Lu Li's divine energy, soul, and physical body had been enhanced. He had reached the peak of the super mighty warriors in the divinity. He could become a supreme warrior in the divinity after surviving the heavens' tribulation. What was the heavens' tribulation? How could he survive it? Lu Li did not know. Apart from the improvement in divine energy, physical body, and soul, Lu Li did not make much progress in terms of fundamental principles. His Ghost King's cut had improved, the Slayer's move was stabilized, and the Space Twister and other fundamental principles were improved. But compared to 1,000 years, these improvements were nothing. Comparatively speaking, the progress was slow. That being said, during the 1,000 years, Lu Li had been trying to integrate the Slayer's move and the Ghost King's cut. When the Slayer's move was released, it would affect the force in heaven and earth. When the Ghost King's cut was released, the force in heaven and earth would be suppressed. The two attacks seemed to be similar. If they could be combined, the power would be horrifying. The Slayer's move could kill supreme warriors in the divinity, and the Ghost King's cut could subdue supreme warriors in the divinity. If the two moves were combined, Lu Li believed he could kill warriors ranked 10 on the list in a sneak attack. Unfortunately, Lu Li had been cultivating for 1,000 years, and he did not make much progress. The two fundamental principles were like a hemp rope and an iron chain. They seemed to be two completely different fundamental principles and could not be combined. Whoosh, Luli flew away in a blur. In the distance, two people and a huge mythical beast of space showed up. That young lady said, "Grandpa, Luli is out. Is he going to the divinity?" "Yes. He has been cultivating there for 1,000 years. He has a steady mind." The old man nodded. "He is only half a step away from becoming a supreme warrior in the divinity. If he can survive this, he will have a chance to become a powerful warrior in the future." "Survive?" The woman's voice wavered as she asked, "Grandfather, do you think he is not a match for the 10-winged demon?" "Far from it." The old man sighed bitterly and said, "Yu Xing's fighting strength should be comparable to a second tribulation warrior. He could even kill Ji Yunshui. Lu Li's fighting strength is not enough at all." "Then I'll go stop him." The girl's voice was filled with even more emotion. She was about to go after Lu Li. The old man waved his hand, and the woman was unable to move. She even slowly retreated. The old man shook his head and said, "Girl, you cannot stop him. Don't you know Lu Li? Let him try. Maybe he can create a miracle?" Everyone had their own path to walk, and they all had to encounter countless bumps in the road. As long as they were able to overcome them, they would have a bright future ahead of them. Furthermore, since Master chose him back then, he must have something outstanding about him. What if he dies? The young woman's voice became somewhat agitated. "If he dies, I will hate you for the rest of my life. His death is his fate." The old man's voice was as calm as an ancient well, without any fluctuation of emotion. "If he can't overcome this hurdle, then what qualifications does he have to become your husband? What abilities does he have to help you get revenge? What can you do with a good-for-nothing like him? Let's go." Whoosh, the old man waved his hand, and the spatial divine beast below turned into a stream of light and flew away. The surrounding void returned to peace. Buzzing, in a prefecture at the center of the divinity, a man flew out. The space here was unstable. The entire valley was filled with cracks in space. Average warriors would not dare to come close. Phew, when Lu Li came out, he smelled the fresh air of the divinity again. He saw the flowers, trees, birds, insects, and fish. He felt at ease. This was a place for people to live. Anyone who stayed in the void for a long time would have the urge to go crazy. "Let's go to a nearby city and get some information." Lu Li let out the cloaking armor to cover up the black scales. At the same time, he took out the human skin mask and put it on. He quickly flew away, circled around the area, and easily found a small city. What? As he approached the city, Lu Li was surprised. He realized that the population in the city was pitifully small. There were only thousands of people in a small city, and most of them were old men who were dying of old age. Any city in the divinity would have a large population. Usually, a small city would have at least hundreds of thousands of people, a middle-sized city would have millions, and a large city would have tens of millions. Now, there were only thousands of people in a city? There were no warriors outside the city gate or on the city wall. It did not seem that the people in the city were controlled by demons. Lu Li was surprised. He walked into the city with his guard up. He went to a tea house where more than a dozen old men were drinking tea. Lu Li wanted to talk to them. Lu Li's entrance caught the attention of several old men. Since Lu Li had concealed his energy, the old men were not at a high realm and could not sense his presence. Lu Li walked to a table and sat down. He waved his hand and said, "Boss, give me a pot of tea." An old man walked over and said with a bitter smile, "Young man, don't drink tea. Run. The army of demons is coming. If you don't leave now, you will die with us old men." Army of demons. Lu Li raised his eyebrows. This was the center of the divinity. How could the army of demons reach here? Were Lord Ji and the others good-for-nothings? Lu Li did not stand up. Instead, he asked, "Everyone in the city has run away? Where did he run off to?" "All of them." An old man at the side chimed in, Either he escaped to the sea in the west, or he went to the land of Yuyan in the north. Young man, you should leave quickly. Either you go to the west or you go to the north. The entire God realm is no longer safe. Not safe anymore? Luli was even more surprised. Where is Lord Ji? What about the 4 legendary forces? Can they stop the army of demons? You don't know. An old man looked at Luli with suspicion. Luli cupped his fists and said, I have been cultivating in a mountain nearby. I know nothing about the recent situation. Please, do not hesitate to tell me. Lord Ji is dead. An old man said with sorrow, not only him, Master of the Hall of Purgatory, Cabinet of Mystery and more than 60 supreme warriors in the divinity have all died. The divinity is doomed, nobody can stop the army of demons now. 10 armies of demons have reached the center of the divinity. I think they will arrive in 8 to 10 days. The divinity is doomed. What? Lu Li's pupils contracted. He did not expect that the situation would turn out like this in just a few months. Was the divinity really going to be destroyed? Crack, while Luli was in a state of confusion, a jade talisman hanging on his waist suddenly cracked. Luli was delighted to take a look. It meant the Hall of Bloodblade had found Qi Shi'er. Chapter 1650. It was not hard to imagine how important Qi Shi'er was to Luli. He flew up, dashed into the teleportation formation in the city, activated it and left. So fast, before the old warriors could see clearly, Luli had already teleported away. They looked at each other, speechless. Just now, they thought Luli was just an average young man. Little did they know that he could be so powerful. Not even a super mighty warrior in the divinity could be as fast as him. Luli teleported away. All the cities nearby were empty. There were only about 10,000 people left in a big city. They were all old, weak, sick or disabled. They were waiting to die for the city. The huge city was empty, desolate and cold. After more than a dozen teleportations, Luli arrived at a prefectural city. This city was relatively more populated. The prefecture lord did not escape. It was likely that he wanted to defend this city and die together with them. There were some warriors in the city, and over 100 were guarding the teleportation formation. Buzzing, as soon as Luli arrived, he spread out his psychic power in an unbridled manner. Lord Ji was dead and the 4 superforces could not protect themselves. Luli had nothing to worry about. What? There were still some powerful warriors in the city. Luli's psychic power was strong. His unbridled behavior alarmed many people. Those warriors sensed some demonic energy in Luli. He is a demon slave. Chief's psychic power was the strongest. He noticed something was wrong at once. He flew up and so did the other powerful warriors in the city. The warriors gathered around, ready to take action. Luli snorted. He waved his hand and an invisible force in heaven and earth came down. Everyone nearby could not move. Even the super mighty warrior chief was slowed down. His speed was slowed down by 100 times. Chief had an idea. He looked at Luli. His face turned pale. He asked in terror, "You are Luli?" "Yes." Luli scratched his face and showed his real face. He said coldly, "I am Luli. Luli the thief, Luli the god of slaughter, Luli the demon. Why do you want to kill me?" Swish, 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 everyone in the city was ghastly pale, without a trace of blood. They knew that staying here would only lead to death. They would be killed by demons and become demon slaves. Who would have thought that this day would come so quickly? The demon didn't come, but Luli did. Luli used psychic power to check and soon found the branch of the Hall of Blood Edge. He ignored these people and soared into the sky. In a flash, he entered the Bloodshed Hall branch. A token appeared in his hand, and the people in the branch quickly knelt down. Contact headquarters immediately and ask for Qi Shi'er's whereabouts. Luli waved his hand and the hall master of the Bloodblade division arranged for someone to go into a castle to send a message. Luli asked, "Where are the demons fighting now?" This branch master was actually a bit nervous. After all, Luli was known as a thief. If he worked for the devil now, the Bloodblade Hall's intelligence network would be working for the devil. That being said, the Chief Hall Master didn't give any orders, which meant that the Chief Hall Master still trusted Luli. The token in Luli's hand still had great authority. The Hall Master pondered for a moment before replying. The evil demon army is divided into 10 groups. There are 3 main armies, each led by a 10-winged evil demon. The first group has reached the Empyrean Water Prefecture. Wait. Luli took out a map, pointed at it and said, "Draw it out. Draw the routes of the 10 armies of the evil demons and mark the 3 armies with 10-winged evil demons." The Hall Master rolled his eyes, not knowing what Luli wanted to do. But since Luli wanted the arrangement of the evil demons and not the humans, he didn't mind giving it to him. The Hall Master circled the map and wrote down the number of the evil demon army and the powerful ones. The Plum Creek Prefecture? They are not far away. Luli saw that the evil demon army in the central region was only dozens of prefectures away from here. His eyes grew cold. After some thoughts, he asked again, "How are the people in the central region escaping?" The Hall Master hesitated for a bit and replied, "Most of them have escaped. All the teleportation formations are free, so they can escape much faster. But many weak warriors can't teleport continuously and some elders don't want to leave. Also, there are some tribes outside the cities. They are too far away from the cities. It will take them months to get there. I think they are all on the way now." While Luli was asking about the situation, the suppression of space in the city was weakening. Everyone could move now. They gathered around the chief, waiting for his orders. Rather than waiting for orders, it was more like waiting for Luli's execution. Luli was so famous that no one dared to think of rebelling. Luli could defeat them with a wave of his hand. They couldn't hurt Luli even if they fought with their lives on the line. Whoosh! After a while, a scout of the Hall of Bloodblade rushed in and reported, "The headquarters have sent back a message. Lady Chi-Shir is at the Plum Creek Lake. They have sent over 100 powerful warriors to rescue her, but they are surrounded by the evil demon army." What? Luli looked at the map and his face turned pale. He was filled with killing intent as he shouted, "Can the space-time office teleportation formation in the city still be used? I can't use it anymore." The Hall Master of the Hall of Bloodblade shook his head and said, "All the warriors here have been transferred away. If we want to use the space-time office teleportation formation, we will have to go to the nearby Cloud Top City." Whoosh! Luli dashed toward the plaza. The chief and the warriors on the other side were on high alert. Luli waved his hand and stopped everyone. Then he rushed into a huge teleportation formation. Buzzing! Luli used some Xian energy to activate the teleportation formation. Before he left, he said, "You will find out in 10 days whether I, Luli, am a thief or a hero." Luli teleported away, leaving the warriors in the city speechless. Luli didn't kill anyone? He said some strange things. He didn't want to be a thief, but a hero? Wasn't he a slave to the demons? How could he be a hero? Luli teleported away. If anyone in the city tried to stop him, he would just stop them. After 2 teleportations, he arrived at the Cloud Top City. As soon as he came out, he used his psychic power to check on the Spacetime Office branch here. He dashed over like a mad dragon. Who dares to break into the Spacetime Office? There were warriors guarding outside the castle. Seeing Luli coming, they pulled out their sabers to stop him. Luli shouted in rage, "Get lost!" Luli didn't even launch any attacks. He just poured out his strong killing intent. The horrifying killing intent made the escorts too afraid to move. Whoosh! There were still some warriors guarding the Spacetime Office. The most powerful one was a super mighty warrior from the divinity. He flew out from a castle and was about to stop the intruder. When he saw Luli with psychic power, he trembled and his lips trembled. Luli? Yes, it is me. Chapter 1651. The Patriarch of the Spacetime Office was troubled. To help Luli would be to help the enemy. Luli was a traitor. Everyone wanted to kill him, and he was forsaken by both humans and God. To help Luli would be cast aside by the entire human race. That being said, if he didn't, everyone here would die, including those in the city. Whoosh, many people in the city were alarmed. Some powerful warriors came over, but Luli ignored them. He only stared at the Patriarch. Killing intent spread out from him. He said coldly again, I will give you one last chance. Either you teleport me over or I will start a massacre. The Patriarch of Spacetime Office swallowed and asked, Luli, why are you teleporting to the Plum Creek Lake? Luli thought about it for a moment and answered frankly, to save people and to kill demons. Kill demons? The warriors of Spacetime Office looked at each other, speechless. So did the other powerful warriors. They thought they had heard it wrong. Luli was going to kill demons? Was he still a thief if he was going to kill demons? I don't want to explain. You will see in 10 days. Teleport me or die. Luli said coldly. The demon slayer appeared in his hand. His patience was wearing thin. He didn't know if Chi Shear was alive or not. He must go over as soon as possible. Teleport. The Patriarch of Spacetime Office made up his mind. The demon army at the Plum Creek Prefecture had arrived. The humans there must have been slaughtered. Luli wouldn't be of much help to the demons there. What if he really was going to kill demons? The Patriarch of Spacetime Office gave the order with this idea that he didn't believe in himself. The others were relieved. Luli was known as the god of slaughter. Everyone was afraid of him. Soon, the teleportation altar lit up. Luli vanished in a blur. The people from the Spacetime Mansion and the other powers hurriedly reported this news to their superiors. This news quickly spread. Luli the thief had disappeared for several months, and he said he was going to the Plum Creek Prefecture to kill demons? This news made many people feel that it was a little unreal and even a little ridiculous. That being said, some forces still turned their attention to the Plum Creek Prefecture. After all, there was an army of demons there, and they were attacking the divinity. What if Luli really was going to kill demons? The situation in Plum Creek Prefecture was very clear. More than half of the city, including the prefecture capital, had been conquered. Although many cities had activated city protection arrays, there were many demon overlords in the army. They easily broke through the city protection arrays and turned all the humans into demon slaves. There was a very beautiful lake in the northwest of Plum Stream City. This lake was the private, forbidden area of the city lord's family, and a defensive formation had been built there. Right now, there were demons outside the lake, and they were attacking the defensive formation. The prefecture lord and many of the clan's elders were all in the castle in the lake. There were also some guests from overseas. For example, the Wang clan's experts that had migrated from the Stars and Moon Island. Wang Shun was here. Wang Shun had some relationship with the prefecture lord Mei Yun. After he moved his family to the divine world, because he was worried about his enemies in the God realm, he secretly brought his family to the Plum Creek Prefecture and sought refuge with the prefecture master, Mei Yun. He had been living in seclusion in the Plum Creek Lake. The Bloodblade Hall had always been looking for Chi Shear, but they hadn't thought of looking for Wang Shun. It was only recently that they discovered Wang Shun was hiding in the Plum Creek Lake. Therefore, powerful warriors were sent to rescue Chi Shear and bring her to the land of Yuyin. It was a pity that as soon as they entered the Plum Creek Lake, the demon army arrived before they could leave. The prefecture master, Mei Yun, activated the formation and covered up the entire Plum Creek Lake. Nobody could get out. Boom, boom, boom. The defensive formation was under constant attack. There were demons outside, mostly 2-winged and 4-winged ones. There were some 6-winged ones as well. The number of demons was unknown, but there must be at least 1,000,000. Wang Shun and Mei Yun stood by the lake, looking up at the demons outside the shield. Both of them had a bitter smile on their faces. They had sent away all the elite disciples of their families. They didn't want to run anymore. They were ready to fight to the death. Alas! Looking at the wicked bead in his hand, Wang Shun regretted. He should have asked someone to take the wicked bead away. Qi Shi'er was in the bead. Wang Shun had been sending someone to contact Lu Li secretly, but to no avail. Also, it was said that Lu Li had been demonized by demons. Wang Shun was afraid to go to Lu Li. What if he brought Qi Shi'er to Lu Li and she was demonized? Lu Li had told him to take good care of Qi Shi'er. If anything happened to her, Wang Shun would not know what to do. Lord Shi'er. After a while, Wang Shun walked to an old man, handed him the wicked bead and said, "This is Lord Lu's interspatial artifact. His wife is in there. When the shield is down, find a way to kill your way out. We will hold them off for a while." Okay. Jian Shilai nodded. He came in person as soon as he heard the news. He knew how important Qi Shi'er was to Lu Li. Now that he had the wicked bead in his hands, he felt a bit calmer. As long as he could get out, he could live up to Lu Li's expectations. Buzzing, buzzing, the defensive formation glowed, indicating that it was about to be cracked. Wang Shun took out his weapon and looked at Mei Yun. They flew up and stood in midair. Whoosh, 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 many warriors flew up as well, waiting for the moment when the defensive formation was cracked, waiting for the moment when they would die a heroic death. Later, follow me. Let's break out. Jian Shilai raised the wicked bead in his hand solemnly and said, "If I die, you must find a way to send this bead out. Even if all of you die, you must protect this bead." Yes. Over 100 warriors of the Hall of Blood Edge took the order. They stared at the defensive formation in midair and the demons outside. They were determined to die. Bang! Finally, when a huge streak of black blur smashed over, the shield was cracked. Wang Shun and Mei Yun dashed over at once, ready to use their most powerful attacks. 8-winged demons, 3 of them. Before the two could launch their attacks, they sensed 3 8-winged demons coming from the mountain in the distance with psychic power. Their faces turned pale. They were both super mighty warriors in the divinity. One 8-winged demon would not stand a chance. How come there were 3? Charge! Jian Shilai felt hopeless when he saw the 3 8-winged demons. He drew out his sword, ready to break out of the encirclement. Swish! It was then that a flash of saber light appeared on the horizon, illuminating half of the sky. The saber light made 2 turns in midair and landed on the head of an 8-winged demon. Boom! The 8-winged demon was blasted away, bleeding profusely. Before it could react, a blood-red saber light drifted over and caught up with it. Then, under the horrified gazes of the others, the 8-winged demon was cut in half at the waist of Ghost King Lu Li. Jian Shilai's eyes lit up like the stars. He suddenly looked to the west. Wang Shun trembled, almost dropping to his knees and calling him master. Mei Yun and the others, however, looked at the young man flying over from the west in surprise, feeling confused. Why did Lu Li turn around and kill the demons? Above the sky in the west, a young man in silver armor flew over quickly with a blue saber in his hand. Though he was still 30 miles away, his murderous intent made many demons feel cold all over, and the coldness penetrated into their bones. Chapter 1652. Who is he? He killed Lord Pan He in one move? This man has the chi and energy of demons? Why did he attack Lord Pan He? Don't worry about who he is. Kill him. Report to the Emperor. This man is strong. I don't think we can stop him. Lu Li killed an 8-winged demon in one move, which shocked the army of demons. 8-winged demons were lords, the most powerful in the world of demons. Apart from the 3 10-winged demons, the 8-winged demons were the most powerful. Only the most powerful human warriors could kill them. Crush. Luli dashed over like a dragon. As he approached the army of demons, he released spatial force. Many demons in the air were suppressed and could not move. Space twist. Luli continuously waved his demon slayer, and waves of spatial fluctuations radiated outwards. Groups of demons were instantly strangled to death. Luli's space twist had become more powerful after cultivating in the black hole of time and space for 1,000 years. It was a piece of cake for him to kill the average 2-winged and 4-winged demons. Charge. The remaining 2 8-winged demons dashed over like ghostly shadows. One of them disappeared in midair and turned into a mass of black mist, flying everywhere. No one knew which mass of black mist he was hiding in. The other 8-winged demon was attacking from the front. Black smoke rose up from him, and the demonic energy was condensed to form a huge black dragon. Buzzing, the hill flying around Luli grew in size and stood in front of him. Luli closed his eyes and tried to find the demon lord through his demonic energy and the ripples in space. Go to hell! He swung his demon slayer toward the sky on the left. A ray of red light shot out and pierced through the sky. An 8-winged demon appeared in midair. When he came out, he saw a red light and a world of blood. The evil spirit had invaded his body and soul. He could not defend himself. He had to rely on his physical body to resist the horrifying ray of sword light. This is the legendary move of the Slayer. The demon suddenly came to his senses and shouted. But the ray of sword light had already landed on him. He was smashed away. Half of his shoulder and some wings were cut off. The move of the Slayer? The other 8-winged demon was taken aback. He looked at Luli in terror and murmured, "The Slayer is dead. This man is so young. He cannot be the Slayer. Is he the reincarnation of the Slayer?" Retreat. After shouting the last word, the 8-winged demon actually didn't care about anything else. It flapped its wings and turned to leave. He was so fast that Luli didn't have enough time to go after him. Luli had to release the Slayer's move again to finish the badly injured demon. The reincarnation of the Slayer? Run. Shadi? Is it the Shadi who killed hundreds of millions of our people? Retreat. The Slayer is coming. Run, run. All the demons were terrified. They immediately flapped their wings and fled into the distance. Luli couldn't chase down the 8-winged demon, but how could he let these low-level demons go? Once again, Luli used spatial force to suppress and then space twist to kill. Bang, 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 seeing countless demons being slaughtered as easily as slaughtering pigs and dogs, Wang Shun, Jian Shilai, and the others were extremely excited, wishing they could join in the slaughter. However, as Luli kept using spatial force, they could not move again. They had to give up. What was more, Luli was killing demons so fast that it would be pointless for them to join in the battle. They might even affect Luli. Impressive. Chief Master Mei Yun and the others had a different feeling. Previously, when facing the demons, everyone felt helpless and hopeless. They were all prepared to die and were filled with fear from the depth of their souls. But now, so many horrifying demons were like pigs and dogs under Luli's sword. They could not fight back at all and were at Luli's mercy. Apart from the deep shock, they also felt a strong sense of pleasure. How delightful! The evil demon army had already occupied nearly half of the God Realm's territory. How many humans had they slaughtered and enslaved? In recent battles, the human race had suffered heavy losses at the first clash, collapsing thousands of miles away. Now that Luli was slaughtering demons so wantonly, they felt they could hold their heads high. An hour. Luli had been killing for an hour. Every time he released Space Twist, he would kill 1,000 or 2,000 demons. In an hour, the surroundings had become a sea of blood and mountains of corpses. The black blood of the demons had gathered into a river and poured into the Plum Creek Lake. The lake water had a fishy smell and turned dark red. In an hour, Luli had killed at least hundreds of thousands of demons. The remaining ones had all fled. Luli could use spatial force to suppress them, but the spatial force would be disturbed when he attacked. As a result, some demons had inevitably escaped. Swish! Making sure that there were no demons nearby, Luli flew down and stood in front of Jian Shilai. Jian Shilai dropped to one knee immediately. Those behind him knelt down as well. Wang Shun led a few powerful warriors of his family and knelt down, shouting, "Greetings, Lord!" Mei Yun and the others felt embarrassed because Luli was a human thief. This title was jointly announced by Lord Ji and the 4 super forces. Should he come over to greet him or not? Never mind. Mei Yun thought about it and bowed to Luli with the others. He didn't kneel down. Mei Yun greets you, Lord. Thank you for saving our lives. Get up. After killing hundreds of thousands of demons, Luli showed no emotion on his face. He waved his hand and asked Wang Shun, "Wang Shun, where is my wife?" Buzzing, Jian Shilai took out the wicked bead and handed it to Luli. "Lord, she is here." Luli took over the wicked bead and used psychic power to check. He smiled when he saw Qi Shir cultivating quietly. He decided to let her out after some thoughts. "Brother!" Qi Shir was startled as soon as she came out. She looked around and burst into tears when she saw Luli. She was about to throw herself into Luli's arms. "Shir, stay here. Don't move." Luli stopped her and said bluntly, "I have the energy of demons on me. You cannot touch me now." Demons? Qi Shir had been staying in the wicked bead, so she didn't understand. Luli didn't explain to her in detail either. He said, "Shir, go to the land of Yuyan with Patriarch Jian Shilai and find Lady Pan Yuqin. I will come and find you when I am done here." "Brother, are you going to leave me behind again?" Qi Shir felt wronged. Previously, Luli had kept her in the wicked bead for a long time, which had upset her. They had just met and they were going to separate? She was heartbroken. "Shir, listen to me." Luli pulled a long face and said, "Shir, the demons are invading. The divinity is in trouble and the human race is facing a catastrophe. Many humans are dying. Look at the bodies of the demons outside. It is not that I don't want to go with you, but I need to fight the demons and save more human lives. I need to save the divinity." Qi Shir used psychic power to check. She turned pale. She looked at Luli and said, crying, "Brother, you must come back soon. You must be fine. Don't worry. As long as I don't run into the 3 10-winged demons, no demon can kill me," Luli said confidently. Looking at Jian Shilai, he said, "Jian Shilai, I will leave Shir with you. You must send her to the King Pan city safely." "Lord, don't worry." Jian Shilai kowtowed and said, "If anything happens to Lady Pan, we will cut off our heads. I will go now." Luli gave Qi Shir a meaningful look. He flew up and said, "The 4 forces cannot protect you. I, the traitor Luli, am here to protect the people of the divinity." Luli flew away in a blur. Mei Yun and the others felt ashamed and exclaimed. Just a moment ago, they were doubting Luli. Remembering Luli's words, Mei Yun felt her face was burning. The 4 forces could not protect the people of the divinity. Now they had to rely on a traitor of the human race to protect the human race. This was ironic. Chapter 1653. An army of demons had come to the Plum Creek City. There were nearly 10 million demons, more than 20 demon lords, and over 100 million Asmodeans. In the face of such a powerful army, how could the cities in the prefectures resist? Even if not all of them had fled, they still wouldn't have been able to. Most of the cities in the Plum Creek City had been occupied. There wouldn't be many people in the cities. It was the remote tribes in the mountains that would suffer. Those tribes did not have teleportation formations. Only some low-level warriors or some old immortals could no longer survive in the cities. Given their speed, it would take them several months to get to the cities. Plus, there were wild beasts along the way. It was not hard to imagine what would happen. Over 100 million Asmodeans would wreak havoc like a swarm of locusts. All the immortals along the way would either be killed or demonized. The demon commander's order was to wipe out the human race. He was lying when he said he was surrendering. What he wanted was to completely occupy the divinity, a fertile land. How could he leave behind endless troubles? Miserable. That was the only feeling Luli had on his way. Along the way, he had seen broken mountains and rivers, ruined cities, and bodies all over the ground. He even saw some demons roasting human flesh. Humans had become animals in captivity, slaughtered, abused, and devoured at will. That being said, from the demon's point of view, humans were no different from wild beasts. The only difference was that humans could talk, think, and were more powerful. Go to hell. Another city passed by. Luli didn't bother to kill them one by one. He used psychic power to make sure that there were no living humans in the city. Then, he released the mountain. Swish, swish. The mountain flew up and grew to a size of 30 miles. Pressed down on that small city. Luli had been hiding. Only when the mountain came out did the demons inside come back to their senses. Looking at the mountain in terror, the demons ran out in a frenzy. Luli snorted. Under the suppression of spatial force, none of the demons could move. They could only watch as the huge mountain came down. Boom! The ground within a radius of 10,000 li trembled violently. The entire city disappeared, crushed into powder. There was even a huge bottomless crater that appeared here. As for the demons and demonic slaves in the city, they were naturally reduced to dust. The divine mountain was capable of suppressing the supremes of the immortal realm. The strongest being in the city was only the six-winged demon. How could it possibly withstand the attack? Kill this human. Outside the city, there were still some demons and countless Asmodean slaves. As soon as Luli attacked, he appeared. They controlled the Asmodean slaves to swarm Luli to death. Go! Luli did not bother to kill those low-level demons and slaves. Some of them might have been super mighty warriors in the divinity when they were alive, but their abilities would be reduced after they became demons. Luli enlarged another mountain and flew away. The autumn wind sweeps away the fallen leaves. As the sacred mountain flew forward, it was like a war chariot charging through a swarm of ants. Demons and demonic slaves were being crushed one by one. They were smashed to death and turned into minced meat. The speed of this massacre was much faster than the spatial distortion. Luli stood on a mountain, looking at the Asmodean slaves swarming over like locusts from all sides. He watched as the two mountains kept moving. His former compatriots were smashed into pieces, the foot of the mountain was turned into hell, and the ground was dyed red with blood. Luli did not show any emotion on his face, but his heart ached. He was not a saint. He did not see it as his duty to save the world. He would not care about the common people or pity them. He had come to kill the demons because he understood that when the nest was overturned, no egg would remain intact. The divinity would fall, and so would the 9 universes. He had always prioritized the small things before the big things. He was not the emperor of the divinity. He was a traitor of the divinity. At this moment, he was filled with mixed feelings. Whether he was a traitor or a hero, at the end of the day, he had to have his own principles. For his family, for his people, and for the human race in the divinity, he had to do everything he could to defeat the demon army. Let's go. After killing the main force of the demon army nearby, he flew away. His destination was the prefectural city of the Plum Creek Prefecture. That was the base camp of the demon army. There were many lords of the demon there. If he did not kill these lords, the demon army would not retreat. The Plum Creek city was not too far away. At this moment, The lord of the demon and some of the demons that had escaped had entered the city. There was a commotion in the city. The reincarnation of the Slayer. The news spread quickly, causing countless demons in the city to panic. None of the demons had seen what happened 500,000 years ago. However, there was a record of one person in the history of the demons. The Slayer. Many of the demon history books recorded that the Slayer had slaughtered hundreds of millions of demons and defeated the demon army more than 500,000 years ago. He killed the demon emperor at that time and drove the army back to the realm of demons. Those demons that had escaped all talked about one person, the cruelty of the Slayer. Therefore, the name of the Slayer had been circulating in the realm of demons, just like how the name of the great Emperor Yoshing was circulating among the human race. Why are you panicking? The commander of the demons here was an 8-winged demon called Yu Gang. Chapter 1654. Whoosh, 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 there were more than 20 lords in the city. All of them flew out and charged at the mountain with dark air. The feeling this divine mountain gave them was too terrifying. If the divine mountain pressed down, perhaps half of the millions of demons inside and outside the city would die. Swish, a ray of sword light came from the horizon. The ray of sword light made a turn in the sky and came down almost at the same time as the mountain came down. There was only one ray of sword light and it could only land on one 8-winged demon. That being said, the force of heaven and earth in the ray of sword light slowed down all the demon lords. Whoosh, on the other side, a green mountain came from the east. It was growing bigger and bigger like a roaring beast. It was so fast that it had arrived outside the city in the blink of an eye. There were demons outside the city. When they saw a huge mountain flying over, they were all dumbfounded. Luli made one move after another. They were overwhelmed and could not react at all. Boom, 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 the divine mountains were simply too fast. Ordinary demons didn't even have time to escape before they were crushed by the divine mountains. Groups of demons were crushed to death. Yu Gang and the other demon experts, who were blocking the other divine mountain, were so shocked that their eyes almost popped out. The mountain above them had been blocked. The Ghost King cut smashed away a demon lord but did not kill it. Yu Gang suddenly shot out a black stream of light and then flew over, leading several demon overlords to block the green divine mountain. Whoosh, Luli released the Slayer's move and targeted a demon lord. As soon as the Slayer's move was released, the demon lord was smashed away. He was covered in blood and several of his wings were cut off. Luli had severely wounded a demon lord in one move. Kill him, kill him! Yu Gang no longer cared about the lives of the low-level demons. He dashed toward Luli like a mad dragon. However, he had just moved for 2 miles when a ray of sword light came from the horizon. The ray of sword light made a turn in the sky. He was suppressed by the force of heaven and earth so that he could not run away. Bang! The Ghost King chop sent Yu Gang flying. Yu Gang was worthy of being a powerful existence second only to the 10-winged fiend. Although many of the scales on the surface of his body had shattered and black blood gushed out of his chest, he did not suffer any serious injuries. Buzzing, a demon came out from the void and appeared behind Luli. His sharp claws with a cold glare reached at the back of Luli's head, causing a shrill noise. It seemed that this claw could pierce through Luli's head. At the same time, the demon lord's demonic aura spread out and enveloped Luli. This was the evil demon's method of success. No matter who it was, the experts of the human race would be afraid of the evil demon's aura. Because it was very easy to be demonized when the demonic aura entered one's body, in the past, human experts would be terrified and try their best to expel the demonic aura so that they could kill them easily. He had miscalculated this time. Luli wasn't afraid of the demonic energy at all. He didn't even turn around. Countless worms of the void swarmed out from his body and pierced into the demon lord. Huh? What the hell is this? When the demon overlord discovered that the void worm had entered his body, he froze in place. He discovered that the void worms were quickly rushing towards his head, and became even more frightened. He continuously controlled his demonic aura in an attempt to demonize those worms and kill them. Unfortunately, the worms of the void had no reaction. They went into his head and began to gnaw at his head. The demon overlord rolled around in the air in pain. After a few roars, he woke up with a start. He opened his eyes and waved his claws at Luli. Too late! Luli slapped back. Space began to tremble. The demon wanted to attack but was too slow. Soon, blood oozed out from the corner of his mouth and he fell down. The expressions of the demon lords around them changed. Luli didn't seem to have done anything at all. All he did was throw out his palm and a demon lord was dead? Yu Gang was stunned as well. How could Luli be so cruel? Was he really the reincarnation of the Slayer? Boom, boom, boom. Below, the divine mountain was still rampaging forward. Demons were dying one after another. Yu Gang and the other demons were enraged. Yu Gang roared, "Kill! Kill him at all costs!" Buzzing, Luli suddenly drew a formation in the air. Before the demon lords came over, Luli had disappeared into the void. What? Yu Gang and the others used psychic power to check for Luli. They thought Luli was hiding nearby. However, Luli had flown away. How could they find him? Whoosh, the two mountains flew toward the east. The mountains had spirit. Luli had told them that as soon as Luli flew away, they would control the mountains to fly away. Go after him. Clearly, the two mountains were treasures. Yu Gang and the others thought Luli was controlling the mountains, and that Luli was heading in that direction. Naturally, they would go after him. On the other side, after Luli flew through the void, he appeared in a nearby prefecture. He immediately flew to a nearby city, and then teleported all the way to Plum Creek Prefecture. Luli was skilled in inhibition formations. Teleportation formations in many cities were sealed, but for Luli, it was not a problem. He broke the seals and teleported away. After more than 8 hours, Luli once again stood outside Plum Creek City. There weren't many demon lords left in the city. Most of them were chasing after the sacred mountain. They were probably still thinking of ways to refine the sacred mountain. Charge, a glint of coldness rose in Luli's eyes. There were only 3 demon lords in the city. For him, the pressure was not so great. As long as he could kill the 3 demon lords, the rest of the demons would be as easy as slaughtering pigs and dogs. That killer is here again. After Luli killed thousands of demon warriors with Space Twist, the entire Plum Creek City was in chaos. Luli had killed more than 200,000 demons in just a few rounds. Now that the demon lords in the city had chased him out, would they be able to stop this god of slaughter? Whoosh! The 3 demon lords that stayed behind rushed out. Out of instinct, they were surprised to see Luli. However, Luli was killing. How could they sit back and do nothing? The 3 demon lords came at Luli from 3 different directions. Luli had been keeping an eye on the 3 8-winged demons. He quickly released Ghost Lord Cut at one of the demon lords. Bang! Ghost Lord Cut could suppress the enemy. This demon lord could not dodge and was killed easily. Die! Luli then released the Slayer's move and locked onto an approaching demon lord. Not even the demon lord could stop this. The murderous spirit entered its body and it couldn't move. It was smashed away. This demon lord's defense wasn't strong enough, so it was killed. Bang! A claw scratched Luli's back. Luli felt as if he had been hit by a mountain. He spat out some blood. The worms of the hollow inside him whizzed out and went into the demon behind him. He floated down and smashed into a group of demons. The nearby demons quickly attacked, but Luli had a holy armor. The average demons couldn't hurt him. He released spatial force to suppress the nearby demons. He turned around and grinned. Looking at the demon lord that was chasing him, he said, "You're still going after me? You're going to lose your head soon." The worms of the hollow began to chew. The demon lord hugged its head and rolled around. The worms of the hollow came out from Lu Li's body. Lu Li pointed at the endless demons around him and said, "Worms of the hollow, eat these demons to your heart's content and divide them as much as you want." Chapter 1655. Yu Gang and the other demon lords were still chasing after the mountain. They were greedy and wanted to refine the mountain. The mountain was strong. They had been attacking it for so long, but it didn't crack. There was no doubt about the mountain's strength. Emperor Yoshing once took over one of Lu Li's mountains, but these people didn't know. If they did, they wouldn't waste their time. This was because Tharch Yoshing had yet to refine that golden divine mountain. The mountain followed Lu Li's orders and stayed 1,000,000 miles away from Plum Creek City. Then, it circled around the city. Yu Gang and the other demons followed along, trying to control and refine the mountain. The divine mountain suddenly became larger and smaller, and its speed was also very fast. It darted left and right, and the dozen or so fiend overlords were having a hard time chasing it. The mountain would grow bigger and smaller from time to time, making the demon lords believe that Lu Li was nearby. Otherwise, how could the mountain be so agile? "Report!" A scout suddenly flew over and shouted from afar, "Lord Yu Gang, that human is here again. He is killing in the city. One of the demon lords has been killed. You should go back now." Luring the tiger away from the mountain. "Oh no." Yu Gang's pupils contracted. He waved his hand and said, "Everyone, go back." The demon lords flew back to Plum Creek City in a hurry, not caring about the mountain anymore. The two mountains didn't know how to be flexible. They continued to follow Lu Li's orders and circled around. In the time for several incense sticks to burn, the dozen demon lords made it back. But by the time they got back, Plum Creek City had become hell. Many demons' heads were bitten off. 3 demon lords were killed. A conservative estimate was that 1,000,000 demons and 5,000,000 demon slaves had died. But Lu Li was nowhere to be seen. He had run away. Where is that human?" Yu Gang shouted in rage. His eyes were like 2 blood moons, frightening. A scout hurriedly reported, "Sir, that human has escaped in that direction. He just escaped not long ago." "Go after him!" Yu Gang yelled. He waved his hand and ordered all the demon lords to go after the human. Some demon lords hesitated. One demon said, "Lord, if we all go after him, what if that human comes back to the city?" This? Yu Gang thought for a moment and was stunned. A demon overlord cupped his hands and said, "Lord Yu Gang, we can't continue chasing. Otherwise, we will fall into the trap of luring the tiger away from the mountain. Our army has suffered far too many casualties. If we continue to die, we will all be executed by Great Emperor Yoshing. I think we should evacuate first and go to Great Emperor Yoshing's side." "Retreat." Yu Gang's expression changed. He had close to 10,000,000 demons and over 100,000,000 demon slaves, yet they were repelled by a single human. How was he going to establish himself in the demon realm if news of this got out? "We can't retreat." Yu Gang's eyes turned and he calmed down. He waved his hand and said, "Everyone, return to the city and set up the great heavenly demon array. When that human attacks again, we will make sure he doesn't return." "All right." The other demon overlords nodded. Although the heavenly demon formation was inferior to Great Emperor Yoshing's divine demon formation, it was still extremely powerful. As long as Lu Li dared to come to the city, he would be doomed once he was trapped by the formation. Report: An hour later, a scout reported, "That human went to the nearby Meiyang city and is currently massacring our clansmen and demon slaves." "Bastard!" Yu Gang yelled in rage. There were close to 10,000,000 demons in the Meiyang city, but not all of them were here. The battle line was stretched out and the entire Meiyang city was filled with demons. If Luli went on like this, millions of demons would be killed. Send down my order. Tell all our clansmen to gather here. Tell those at the Meiyang city to stop resisting and evacuate immediately. Yu Gang had to give the order. If the demons outside didn't come back, they would be devoured by Luli one by one. He didn't even dare to send demon overlords to receive the demon army now, because even a few demon overlords would be killed by Luli easily. Report, they continued to set up the great heavenly demon array. After another hour, the scout came back with news that Yu Gang couldn't believe. Luli had killed all the demons and demon slaves at the Meiyang city. Only some scouts escaped. How is that possible? How long has it been? Even if we all line up for him to kill, he can't kill them all, right? Yu Gang grabbed the scout's neck and asked, "Did you make a mistake? If you dare to give false information, I will kill your entire family." "I don't dare," the scout said in fear. "That human has horrifying insects. There are so many of them that they cover the sky and the earth, and there are more and more of them. Hundreds of thousands of our clansmen and millions of demon slaves have all been killed by him. All our heads have been bitten off." Insects? Their heads were bitten off? Yu Gang remembered a demon overlord that was killed outside the city and many demon soldiers. Weren't their heads eaten off too? His body trembled, and he felt a chill run down his spine. This human is the bane of the demon race. We must kill him. Yu Gang gritted his teeth and shouted. He waved his hand and said, "Tell Great Emperor Yoshing about the situation here and ask him to send reinforcements. Hurry up and set up the great heavenly demon array." Yu Gang shouted. He felt humiliated. He had an army of tens of millions of demons, more than 20 demon overlords and hundreds of millions of demon slaves. However, they were being killed by a human. He didn't have the face to see Great Emperor Yoshing. He didn't even have the face to see his subordinate. Humiliation. Report, Lord Lan Fu's army on the east side has been attacked by that human. More than half of them are dead or injured. Report, Lord Lan Fu's army has been wiped out. Report, scouts kept coming back with reports, and more demon armies were gathering. It had only been 3 days. More than 4 million demon warriors had been killed, and the number of demon slaves was uncountable. Yu Gang didn't dare to go out anymore. He set up a formation in the city and hoped that Great Emperor Yoshing and the others would come and kill Luli. At the same time, news spread to the divinity like snowflakes. Because Luli said he was going to the Plum Creek region to kill demons, many forces sent scouts over to investigate. The top scouts were dispatched and found the situation at the Plum Creek region. They found countless demon corpses and saw Luli killing one demon army after another by himself. The news was like a bolt of lightning that shocked countless humans. They were so shocked that they were in tears. They were dumbfounded because Luli was really killing demons. The 4 super forces could not protect the human race, but Luli was going to turn the tide and save the world by himself? They were in tears because they had lost all hope. This time they saw hope again. Even though they didn't know what the outcome would be, at least there was a glimmer of hope, wasn't there? After a long night, there was finally a ray of light. Even though it was only a ray of light, it was enough to cheer everyone up. However, this ray of light was brought to them by the human thief Luli, whom they once despised and cursed. This made many people feel ashamed and ironic. Chapter 1656. Half a month. Luli had been killing in Plum Creek City for half a month. He didn't even know how many demons and slaves he had killed. Apart from the demons near Plum Creek City, almost all the demons and slaves in Plum Creek City had been killed by him. Yu Gang set up a strange formation in the realm of demons in Plum Creek City. Luli didn't go to Plum Creek City. He left after killing the last demon army. He flew across the sky towards the north. It took him 11 days to reach the Rainflower City. He flew from the center of the divinity to the north, crossing hundreds of prefectures. There was a demon army wreaking havoc in the Rainflower City. There were 5 or 6 million demons and more than 20 demon lords. But there were no 10-winged demons. By the time Luli arrived, the Rainflower City had fallen. The demon army here was preparing to attack another nearby prefecture. Luli attacked as soon as he arrived and destroyed an entire city of demons and slaves. There were 300,000 of them. The demon leader here was enraged when he received the news. He immediately led the demon lords to chase after Luli. Luli flew away and entered the Rainflower City from another direction. He continued to look for the demon army to kill. Luli almost didn't have to do it himself now, unless he ran into powerful demons. When it came to the average demons, Luli only needed to wave his hand and the worms of the void would whooshing over and devouring the demons. The worms of the void would only eat the demons' heads. It wasn't that the demons didn't have energy, but that the worms of the void would split after eating the heads. Luli deliberately created a situation so that the demons would feel fear when they found out about the situation. Imagine if a demon scout found out that all the demons and slaves in a city had no head. How terrifying would that be? Such a cruel and tyrannical method could have a strong deterrent effect on the demons. On the 8th day at the Rainflower City, all the demons in the city knew that there was a horrifying human who was killing demons. All the demons killed by him had no head. Many cities were full of demon corpses, headless corpses. Just the thought of this scene was enough to make one's hair stand on end. The demons on this side were instantly terrified. They were always afraid that this human would suddenly appear and kill all the demons in the city, and then cut off their heads. The leader of the demons led a group of 8-winged demons to chase after Luli, but every time, Luli would immediately fly away. He didn't fight them at all. This made the group of demon overlords furious, but they had no place to vent, so they could only suppress it in their hearts. Towards the end, the demon commander finally learned his lesson and gathered all the demons towards Yuhua City. He wanted to see how Luli would defeat them one by one. At the same time, the demon commander sent a message to Great Emperor Yoshing, requesting for reinforcements from the 3 10-winged demons. The 3 10-winged demons had just gone to the Plum Creek City and hadn't found Luli yet. Now, there was a message saying that Luli had come to the Rainflower Mansion. The 2 10-winged demons were incomparably furious. Great Emperor Yoshing, on the other hand, laughed and said, "Finally, a decent opponent has come. The King of Lu that this emperor personally conferred has not disappointed this emperor." These words shocked Yu Gang and the other abyssals. Based on these words, in Great Emperor Yoshing's mind, Lord Ji, Zhuoqiu Lu, and the others were not his match at all? So, Luli was the only enemy that was worth his attention? Yu Gang once met Luli. Luli was still young and had not reached the level of supremacy in the divinity. How could Great Emperor Yoshing regard him so highly? That being said, given Luli's abilities and strange abilities, Yu Gang felt that Luli was indeed a formidable opponent for demons. Great Emperor Yoshing thought about it and ordered, "Yu He, go to Black Nightshade. Yu, go to Dragon Ocean. Remember, when you get there, keep a low profile. Don't let any civilians know. Hide among the army." Go to Black Nightshade and Dragon Ocean? Not to the Rainflower Mansion? Yu Gang asked in surprise. Luli was at the Rainflower Mansion. If the 3 10-winged demons didn't go to rescue him, all the civilians at the Rainflower Mansion would be slaughtered by Luli. It is pointless to go now. Great Emperor Yoshing shook his head and said, "Luli left before we arrived. This means that he has a high sense of danger. I think he will choose another army after a few more days, and it won't be the army at the north. He wants to lure us to the north so that he can attack the other armies." "Yes, Great Emperor." The 2 10-winged demons left quietly. Seeing that Great Emperor Yoshing was about to leave, Yu Gang asked, "Great Emperor, what should we do next? Do we stay here or do we go on?" "Go on." Great Emperor Yoshing waved his hand and said, "Even if we stay here, you cannot stop Luli when he comes. How about we launch an all-out attack and see which side he will save? Any one of the three of us can kill him." Yes. Yu Gang accepted the order. Great Emperor Yoshing left like a ghost. Yu Gang ordered the entire army to march. This time, too many Asmodean slaves had died. He wanted to invade human prefectures to transform more Asmodean slaves and kill more humans. The army marched forward quickly. Before the army of Asmodean slaves caught up, Yu Gang led the demons to march ahead. The demons all had wings and could fly fast. That being said, the prefectures were vast and they could not take teleportation formations. Traveling across prefectures would take time. That was why it took the demon army a long time to conquer almost half of the prefectures in the divinity. The demon army was unstoppable and invincible. However, the divinity was too vast. Flying was not fast enough for the low-level demons. After more than 10 days, the demon army finally arrived at the Hongming prefecture. When they arrived at the first city nearby and saw the shield in the city, Yu Gang's eyes glowed with bloodlust. He bellowed, "Attack the city! Break the city! Leave no human alive! Tear them all apart!" Yu Gang wanted to vent his anger and get back at the humans. He wanted to kill a large number of humans to get back at Luli. With a wave of his hand, teams of demons immediately flew out and surrounded the city in front of them. What surprised Yu Gang was, the tens of thousands of demons did not attack at once. Instead, they stopped outside the city and looked into the city in fear. Yu Gang furrowed his brows. His blood-red eyes flickered for a moment before he led a group of experts and flew away. "Why don't we attack the city?" Yu Gang roared angrily. He looked into the city, and through the shield, he found that the city was empty. He didn't see a large number of warriors. "No, there is someone. There is one." Long Gang took a closer look and his pupils contracted. He saw a man sitting in the plaza with his legs crossed. There was a table in front of him. The man was drinking tea leisurely. King Luli. Yu Gang could only see one side of the man's face from where he was. But he recognized him right away. Out of instinct, Long Gang felt a chill. He wanted to give the order to retreat at once. There must be something wrong. Didn't Luli go to the Rainflower Prefecture a while ago? Even if he had left, he should have gone to the other demon armies. Why did he come to them? We cannot retreat, Yu Gang thought about it. If he was scared off by Luli alone, he would not be able to survive in the realm of demons. Yu Gang made up his mind, waved his hand and said, "Surround the city. Let's attack together. This time, we cannot let Luli run away." Luli, who had been drinking tea with his head down, finally looked up. He threw Yu Gang a glance and said, "Retard, buzzing, buzzing, buzzing." As soon as the demon army surrounded the city, the ground began to tremble. Then, countless worms of the void emerged from the ground and flew up like moths. Before Yu Gang could give the order to retreat, the billions of worms of the void had enveloped all the demons. Chapter 1657. Billions of void worms flying out from below. What kind of majestic scene was that? There were many demons here, millions covering the sky and the earth. But compared to the number of worms of the void, it was still a far cry. The worms of the void were too fast. They had been lurking underground since the beginning. The worms of the void were colorless and formless. They had no presence. When they were lurking underground, it was impossible to detect them. Luli sat alone in the city and attracted the attention of the demon scouts. None of the demons paid attention to the underground. At this moment, the worms of the void flew up and rushed into the bodies of many demons, which shocked them. They attacked wildly. Unfortunately, the worms of the void were intangible. Their attacks could not hurt the worms of the void. "Run!" Yu Gang let out a hysterical roar. He flew up into the sky in fear and then fled into the distance. The horror of these worms had been known for a long time. 8-winged demons could eat them. All the demons fled in all directions like frightened birds, but it was too late. The worms of the void were too fast, and there were too many of them. At least half of the demons had entered the bodies of the worms of the void. Eat to your heart's content. Luli picked up his teacup and said softly with a smile. As soon as he said this, the demons that were fleeing in the distance rolled around in the air and howled in pain. The worms of the void began to eat the heads of the demons. Those demons that had been entered by the worms of the void rolled around in pain in the air, shouting the names of Emperor Yoshing and Yu Gang, hoping to save them. What? Yu Gang and the other demon lords reacted quickly. Apart from 2 8-winged demons that had worms of the void, the other 8-winged demons had all fled. At this moment, hearing the screams behind them, they all looked back. What they saw made all the demon lords' eyes widen and their hearts break. One by one, the demons fell down. Soon, blood flowed out of their orifices and they died quickly. The speed at which the demons fell was like raindrop. One by one, they fell, rolled around and died immediately. The screams of the demons resounded in the wilderness. Every one of them died in a miserable way. Their faces were full of fear. Yu Gang and the other demons felt a chill and trembled. In the time for dozens of breaths, at least 600,000 to 700,000 demons had fallen. At this moment, there were still demons falling. No one knew how many demons would die in the end. The 2 8-winged demons tumbled in the air, causing Yu Gang and the other demons to tremble even more violently. They looked back at the city in the distance, and could vaguely see Luli sitting in the city drinking tea. The group of demon lords didn't know what to feel. In the past, Yu Gang would have been furious and led the demons to fight Luli to the death. At this moment, Yu Gang's heart was filled with nothing but fear. There was only one thought in his mind: run. They wanted to run far away from Luli, the god of death, and never face him again. Fear usually comes from not understanding the unknown. If Luli had used normal methods to kill the demons, Yu Gang and the other demons would have been united against him and would have fought to the death. Now Luli had used these insects in such a strange, vicious, and cruel way. This had frightened the group of demons. Bang bang! The 2 8-winged demons fell to the ground, but they didn't die. They just held their heads in pain and rolled on the ground. If the 2 demon overlords were like this, how could the rest of the low-level demons still have the will to fight? Bang bang bang, demons kept falling. At the moment, there were more than 1,000,000 demons that had fallen. The remaining millions of demons all fled like frightened birds, not even daring to look back. Hiss hiss, there were some top scouts from various forces hiding nearby. How could the scouts not pay attention to the invasion of Yu Gang's army? They didn't dare to come close and could only hide in the distance. They didn't know the specifics of the situation. They only knew that the demons were gathering in the city, and then immediately fled in all directions. However, the demons suddenly fell one by one, rolled on the ground and died quickly. Seeing this scene, the scouts were all shocked. What kind of strange method was this? What kind of supernatural power was this? What kind of appalling scene was this? After the time for several incense sticks to burn, all the demons ran away. The ones that fell were all dead. The worms of the hollow flew into the ground, and everything was quiet again. Whoosh, whoosh, the scouts hiding around gritted their teeth and flew over, trying to find out what exactly had happened. How could they not find out such a big thing? That would be a dereliction of duty. Soon, a scout found Luli in the city. He was still drinking tea leisurely. Out of instinct, that scout tried to run away. Then, he came to his senses. He dropped to his knees and shouted, "Greetings, Lord Luli." Luli? The scouts nearby were taken aback. They hurried over. When they saw it was Luli, they dropped to their knees in fear. Their hearts were in turmoil, and a few of the scouts were so moved that they shed tears. At first, they didn't know how the demons died. Now, they knew that it was Luli who did it. In an instant, more than 1,000,000 demons were turned into ashes. What a powerful method! Humans could be saved. Buzzing, Luli released a ray of Xian energy to deactivate the shield. He didn't move and said, "Come in." Yes. Dozens scouts flew in and knelt down in front of Luli. Not on one knee, but on all fours, prostrating themselves on the ground. Buzzing, one of Luli's interspatial rings glowed as more bodies of demons appeared. They were all 6-winged and 8-winged demons. Luli waved his hand and said, "There are some bodies of 6-winged and 8-winged demons outside as well. Take them back and send my message. Tell all the forces in the divinity to gather in a city. I need their help. If they don't trust me, then I won't care about the divinity anymore." Yes. The dozen scouts didn't ask any more questions. They left the city with the bodies and collected the 8-winged demons and 6-winged demons outside the city for the other forces to see. Whoosh whoosh, the scouts left quickly. Luli flew up. Looking at where the scouts left, he said, "Zhuoqiulu Guan Luo, the human race is in danger. If you still dare to do anything, then let Spacetime Office and Craftsman's sect be doomed eternally." He had killed so many demons, but he was not omnipotent. He knew very well that encountering the 3 10-winged demons would be dangerous for him. One careless move and he could lose his life. Therefore, he needed help from the other forces to find out where the 3 10-winged demons were. If the forces refused to cooperate, Luli alone could not turn the situation around. If so, what was the point of fighting on his own? He could just let the demon army destroy the divinity. Whoosh! Chapter 1658. Luli chased after them for 5 days and 5 nights, forcing Yu Gang and the other demons out of the Plum Creek Prefecture. In 5 days, Luli slaughtered another 1,000,000 demons. He didn't even have to do it himself. With a wave of his hand, countless worms of the void flew out. Then, many demons fell and their heads were eaten. Now, wherever Luli appeared, the demons would flee. Even the 8-winged demons didn't dare to stay. They ran away in fear when they saw Luli. Luli had become a demon in the hearts of demons. He was even more horrifying than the Slayer. On the 6th day, Luli retreated. If he didn't leave, Yu Xing and the other 2 10-winged demons would come to him. He wanted to save the people of the divinity, but he didn't want to die. He didn't have the confidence to fight against the 10-winged demons. He flew all the way to the center of the divinity. The divinity was boiling. Luli's achievements were spread by the scouts. Such a big event couldn't be suppressed. The news spread across the divinity. Even the land of Yuyan knew. The intelligence network of the Hall of Bloodblade could transmit information quickly. Luli fought a few battles in a row at the Plum Creek Prefecture and the Rainflower Prefecture. He slaughtered millions of demons and over 100 million slaves. He killed countless 6-winged demons and at least 30 8-winged demons. He brought back 18 8-winged demons' corpses. The 18 bodies of the 8-winged demons were hung outside the City of Divinity in the center of the divinity. The 8 black wings were particularly eye-catching. The powerful warriors teleported to the City of Divinity were startled. Luo Guan sent out an order for all the leaders to gather at the City of Divinity to discuss the strategy to defeat the enemy. Also, Luo Guan said that this was Luli's request. If it was just Luo Guan's order, many leaders wouldn't have come. Previously, Luo Guan and Zhuoqiu Lu had given up. They had no way to stop the demon army. It was meaningless for them to follow Zhuoqiu Lu and Luo Guan except to die. But now it was different. Luli had summoned him, and Luli had achieved consecutive victories, defeating 2 demon armies and slaughtering many demon lords. Most importantly, he was able to escape unscathed. This gave hope to the forces in the divinity. Not only did Luli say that he would protect the human race, but he was really doing it. It seemed that he could do it. Another thing that filled the leaders and the divinities' people with confidence in Luli, the battle at the Hongming mansion. Luli sat in the city by himself. He waved his hand to scare off the millions of demons outside the city. More than 1,000,000 demons died in the time for several incense sticks to burn. Such a shocking move had not only frightened the demons, but also the human warriors. The leaders of the major forces had rushed over because they wanted to see if Luli had such a powerful ability. If he did, they were willing to follow Luli and fight against the demon army together. The Spacetime Manor's teleportation altar was activated, and countless experts were teleported over. People from the land of Yuyan had also come. The king of Yen had brought 3 god kings with him. Pan Yuqin had also come. King Yen was very daring to bring 3 god kings to God Artisan City. However, she believed that the leaders of the 4 supreme god organizations were not idiot. If they were to fight among themselves at such a time, the 4 supreme god organizations would not have been able to survive until now. Another reason why Prince of Yen had the confidence to come here was because of Luli. She believed that with Luli as her trump card, the 4 supreme god organizations would not do anything rash. She had brought Pan Yuqin here for the same reason. Powerful warriors gathered at the city of Artisan City. Scouts from the Hall of Bloodblade found Luli and reported to him. Luli changed his direction and flew toward the city of Artisan City. 8 days later, almost all the powerful warriors that were supposed to come had arrived. Apart from the god kings at the land of Yuyan, the remaining 70 or so divinity warriors were all gathered at the city of Artisan City, waiting for Luli's arrival. According to the information, Luli was nearby, but he had not shown up yet. The atmosphere in the city of Artisan City was a bit awkward. Prince of Yen, Ling Qinyan, and the others acted as if nothing had happened, but Luo Guan, Zhuoqilu, and the others were on pins and needles. They were looking forward to Luli's arrival, but at the same time, they didn't want Luli to come. It would be awkward and humiliating when they met. The atmosphere in the inner hall was awkward, and so was the outer hall. Pan Yuqin, Luo Huang, Lu Shi'er, Holy Princess, and Qian Huanhan were all here. Pan Yuqin, Luo Huang, and Holy Princess were looking forward to seeing Luli. Luo Huang and the others, on the other hand, were embarrassed. They did not know how to face Luli. Report, a scout rushed over and reported, Lord Lu is in the city. He will be teleported to the city soon. The news from the scout made both the outer hall and the inner hall noisy. Pan Yuqin and Luo Huang from the House of Illusionary Frost and others rushed out to greet Luli. Luo Huang went to greet Luli as well. Our hero is here. Let's go and greet him. Ling Qinyan was wearing a black dress, which revealed her voluptuous figure. There was a faint smile on her elegant face. She stood there and led several warriors to the outside. Let's go. Guan Luo glanced over to Zhuoqiu Lu and the others and stood up, making up his mind. Zhuoqiu Lu's expressions changed several times. Eventually, she decided to go with Guan Luo. The plaza of the city of Artisan City was crowded with powerful warriors. There were over 100,000 warriors as well. It was silent in the plaza. Everyone was staring at the teleportation formation in the middle of the plaza. Buzzing, after the time for 1 incense stick to burn, the teleportation formation finally lit up. A man of average stature showed up. That man was covered in a white armor. His back was as straight as a sword. He was filled with murderous intent. His face was well-defined. His eyes were bright like stars. When Luli came out, he did not look at the others. He glanced over the city and exclaimed to himself. He remembered that when he first came to the city, he was here for the competition of craftsmen. Back then, Patriarch Gu and Long Xuesha were all there. But today many had turned into dust. Back then, he was just a disciple of the Chamber of Relic. Yen Tiangang and the Cabinet of Cloud were still scheming to kill him. Back then, he did not even dare to leave the city for fear of being assassinated. Later, he became enemies with the city of Artisans City. The Artisans sect had been hunting him down for years. He thought he would never come back to the city of Artisans City unless he had the ability to overturn the 4 legendary forces. However, today, he came to the city of Artisans City in broad daylight. All the powerful warriors in the divinity were here to welcome him. He glanced over Luo Guan, Zhuoqiu Lu, and the others. He did not feel the arrogance of a victor, nor did he feel the pleasure of trampling them under his feet. There was only a hint of mockery. He was mocking the arrangement of fate and how fate played tricks on people. Arrangements. Lu Li suddenly thought of something. He looked up to the sky. At this moment, he had a vague feeling. Could it be that all of this was being manipulated by someone behind the scenes? Above the divinity, there must be a more powerful world. Maybe there were 2, 3, or 4. Was it possible that there were more powerful warriors manipulating everything? Were they treating the divinity and the demon realm as a game of chess? Some powerful warriors were manipulating the game on purpose, watching the civilians of the divinity and the demons kill each other for fun? The mysterious old man, the family behind Lu Ling, the third heaven where Emperor Zi was at, Emperor Zi's enemies, Emperor Yang. Chapter 1659. Boss! Qian Huanhan's shout woke up the plaza from its silence. Qian Huanhan ran toward Lu Li but did not dare to get closer to Lu Li. He was not afraid of Lu Li's demonic energy. It was just that Lu Li was standing too high. Qian Huanhan was afraid that Lu Li would not recognize him. Ha ha Han! Lu Li smiled. He waved his hand and said bluntly, I have demonic energy on me. I will not hug you. Boss, you are our boss. Qian Huanhan was overjoyed to hear Lu Li's words. Lu Li's tone was the same as before, which meant that Lu Li still recognized him. Lu Li nodded with a smile and turned to Lu Shi. Holy Princess asked, Shi, how are you, Holy Princess? Ha ha ha. Lu Shi burst into laughter. He did not come over or say anything. Lu Shi and Lu Li looked into each other's eyes. He could tell what Lu Li was thinking. Brothers treated each other with sincerity. Words were unnecessary. Young Master Lu, good luck. Holy Princess's eyes were filled with mixed feelings. She did not say much and only bowed. Lu Li turned to Pan Yuqin, who seemed to know what was on Lu Li's mind. She nodded. Lu Li smiled. Greetings, Prince of Yen. Greetings, immortal lords. Lu Li looked away to Ling Qinyan and bowed to him. Ling Qinyan and the others were overjoyed. Lu Li had done them a great favor. Ha ha! Ling Qinyan's smile was as dazzling as a blossoming peony. She said, Brother Lu, stand up. Let me have a good look at you. Lu Li stood up. He was not offended that Ling Qinyan was trying to get closer to him. Though Ling Qinyan was known as the Lamia at the land of Yuyan, she did not do anything to Lu Li that day. Lu Li had a good impression of her. Lu Li nodded to the immortal lords one by one. In the end, he turned to Luo Guan and Zhuoqiu Lu. This time, he did not bow. He cupped his fists and said, You must be Grand Master Luo and Chief Zhuoqiu. Luo Guan was relieved. Even though Lu Li did not bow to her, he had done her a great favor. She used to be Lu Li's sworn enemy. Not only did Lu Li not use his power to pressure her, he even cupped his fists to her. He had done her a great honor. Luo Guan smiled slightly and returned the greeting as he said, I'm Luo Guan. I've long heard of young Master Lu's great name. I finally got to meet you today. Humph. Zhuoqiu Lu, on the other hand, found it hard to swallow his pride. Lu Li had killed Zhuoqiu Yan and Patriarch Qi. Zhuoqiu Lu snorted and turned his head away. When Zhuoqiu Lu turned her head, the atmosphere that had eased up became awkward. Luo Guan and the others turned to Lu Li at once. fearing that Luli would fly into a rage and tear down the city of craftsmen today. The smiles on the faces of the Prince of Yen and the others froze. This Zhuoqiu was really a wet blanket. The good atmosphere was destroyed by him. Was he trying to mess up the situation today? Luli narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhuoqiu as he said calmly, "Patriarch Zhuoqiu, if you look down on me, Luli, then please leave right now." Seeing that so many people were looking at him, Zhuoqiu's expressions changed several times. He said sourly, "Luli, don't be so overbearing. Don't be so conceited that you have forgotten who you are." "Forgotten who I am?" Luli burst into laughter and said with mockery, "I haven't forgotten that I am a thief. I was appointed by the four forces and Lord Ji. I am not conceited. Today, I am here with sincerity for the people of the divinity. The divinity is in danger and the people are in trouble. Prince of Yen and the others have put aside their grudges and traveled thousands of miles to come here. How can you, Patriarch Zhuoqiu, destroy the unity because of personal grudges? If you want to be a sinner of the divinity, you can leave. We won't see you off." Zhuoqiu was so angry that his eyebrows were raised. He wanted to argue but did not know what to say. Luo Guan tried to smooth things over. "All right, Patriarch, let's not talk so much. Let's focus on the bigger picture." Ling Qinyan sneered, "Brother Lu, if Patriarch Zhuoqiu doesn't want to talk, then let's talk somewhere else." Well, Zhuoqiu wanted to say something but did not dare to after hearing Ling Qinyan's words. If Luli united most of the powerful warriors of the land of Yuyan and the divinity and defeated the demon army, he would definitely think of a way to take over the divinity. If he was kicked out now, Spacetime Office would be the first force to be destroyed after the war. "Young Master Lu, please." Luo Guan was also worried and quickly invited Luli in. Luli glanced over the crowd and strode in. Once he was in the inner hall, he sat down on the seat of honor without hesitation. Seeing Luli sitting on the host's seat, many supreme warriors of the four forces were shocked. Was Luli trying to usurp the host's position? Just a while ago, he was a thief that everyone wanted to kill. Now, he had become the leader of the human race? Many people could not accept this and were hesitant and worried. What if Luli was a spy for the demon? What if he was a pawn set up by great Emperor Yoshing to lead the human race to their deaths? Everyone had seen great Emperor Yoshing's means. He was willing to sacrifice a 10-winged demon to lure Lord Ji and the others to their deaths. Was he going to play the same trick? Was he going to send some demons for Luli to kill so that he could gain people's trust and then lure all the human warriors to kill him? Luli was the king of Lu that great Emperor Yoshing had appointed in person. What was more, Luli had some demonic energy. Many old warriors here were sophisticated. They could think of many things at once. Prince of Yen and King of Pan were confused as well. Why was Luli in such a hurry to sit on the host's seat? Was he trying to control all the powerful warriors of the human race? Ling Qinyan turned to Pan Yuqin, who nodded and said, "Don't worry, Prince of Yen. Luli is still the same Luli." Ling Qinyan was relieved. Of all the people here, Pan Yuqin, Lu Shi and the others knew Luli the best. Pan Yuqin was the successor of King of Pan. She was meticulous and intelligent. Since she said she was not worried, then it should not be a problem. "Please, take a seat." Luli waved his hand, ignoring the looks of surprise. He had sat on the host's seat on purpose. His goal was to be the leader of the human race and to have the powerful warriors in the divinity listen to his orders. If he could not do something today, he would not have the confidence to lead the human race to defeat the demons. Luo Guan and Zhuoqiu looked at each other and smiled embarrassedly. They sat in the first row on the left. The other supreme warriors of the divinity took their seats while Luo Huang and the others stood behind. Luo Huang was a bit upset. Since Luli came, he didn't even look her in the eye. She was just a bit embarrassed. Now, she felt ashamed and angry. Guys, I know what you are worried about. After everyone was seated, Luli looked around and said, I know you still have some doubts about me. I have demonic energy on me. Will I be controlled by demons? I don't want to explain. I didn't gather you here to fight with me. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.